Good Saturday evening. Welcome back to the LTL podcast. It's episode 37, and it is July 22nd, 2023. We have an action-packed show for everybody this evening. We're going to go through the accused Long Island serial killer, Rex Heuermann, and then we're going to split the show on the back half, and we're going to talk some Bryan Kohberger. And we're going to take phone calls tonight. I plan on trying to stream as long as I can take it this evening. And of course, I could not do it alone. I got my main man in the house. He's hanging out this evening on the panel. I'm going to bring him in. Detective John is on the show. What's up, dude?
What's up, brother? Hey, everybody.
What's going on,
man?
Here. Yeah, good stuff. So I figured we'd try something different this evening, where we've done one full show of just, Heuermann, or we've done one show of BK. Let's split it up a little bit tonight. We'll try to do an hour on Heuermann. We'll try to do an hour on BK, and then we'll try to take some calls at the end. I thought that would be a really cool Saturday Night Live segment for the viewers. All right, so let's do this. Yeah, man, let's do this. I'm just going to recognize a few people in the chat really quick. Let's see. I'm just going to say Psycho. I'm going to say Psycho's in the house. Good to see you here. Mindy's here as well. Kelly D is here as well. Jessica's hanging out. And let's see. We got... So if anybody sees the Opinionated Idiot, that's my Twitch account. We are streaming across 3 platforms tonight. We're live on YouTube, we're live on Twitter, and we're live on Twitch. And if you are watching on Twitch, you can find me at Opinionated Idiot. I haven't changed the marketing there on that channel, but I will update it soon. One of my good moderators is in the room too. Chosen Rosen's here. Good to see you over here hanging out tonight, man. I appreciate you being here. Hope everything is well. I hope everything is well, dude. And
Somer's in too.
Yep. Let's see. We're getting down there. Michelle is here. Good to see you here. Doodlebug is here. We have Brendan in the house as well. Lee is here. Good to see you there as well. Bonnie's here. Lakota's in here. Summer's here. Terry Dean is here. Jell is here. Good to see everybody here. Just a Girl is here. Cleveland, Idaho. Happy to catch the live. Good. So I tried something a little bit different this evening. I dropped the live link. I posted my link at about a half an hour before I went live. I want to see if that kind of brings in more people this evening, because I think before people have been missing the live chats. Whoa, we have Candy in the house. Good to see her. Hope everything is well with you as well. And we have a new member, so we're going to recognize the new member. Melissa French has become a member of the channel, and I appreciate you jumping on that. Thank you. All right, so let's get into the main part of the show here. We'll kick this off with a little Rex Heuermann. We'll do a little update here. Let me bring in this article and let me just enlarge it a little bit here so everybody can see a little bit better. So the most recent article here today, published at 12 noon this afternoon: Giglio Beach murders investigators eye potential Rex Heuermann victims in unsolved cases in other states. DJ and I have been talking about this. We had the show the other night where they think that some of this may spawn across into Las Vegas, as we're finding out he either had properties or a timeshare there. There's led to believe that he had some property down in South Carolina. I know there's an investigation going on down there. And there's also rumors up in my home state here in Massachusetts that he owned property here as well. DJ and I, before we went live, we're just talking about this. If this guy has done the multitude of crimes that may be connected to him already, I think DJ can agree with me as well, he may be one of the most prolific serial killers of all time.
I think he's going to be top 3. I'm telling you that right now. This guy he's done way more.
Yeah. And, now we were also hearing reports that they're looking in Jersey City. So the thing that's very interesting to me about this, and we're finding more out about this guy, that, the bodies that they found on Giglio Beach were bodies of known prostitutes, or, call girls, probably more along the lines of prostitutes. I know that we've talked about this. You kind of say there's a difference, and I understand that. But And there's not any shame on that. I don't want to shame any of these people. We've already kind of cleared all that up. It's not a lifestyle that I would want to wish upon anybody. But now finding all this, hearing this information, and finding it about that he owns properties in Las Vegas. We've heard about New Jersey as well. And I said, well, if it was New Jersey, where would they be looking? And I said, Atlantic City, because what do we know that's down in that area? What is someone
Gambling.
probably gambling? You have gambling, you have girls, you have prostitutes, people are going there for a good time. What is the same thing that happens in Las Vegas? You have gambling and you have prostitutes out there as well. So it doesn't surprise me that they're looking in these particular states and looking at these cold cases now. And I'm going to tell you, man, and this guy, I think, is going to be connected to a lot of cold cases if they can prove any of this stuff. What do you think, DJ?
I concur, man. It gives me chills because this guy's been doing this for a long time, and I heard when I walked into my office here in the house, and I just put some stuff on YouTube, and I was listening. Somebody was talking about the fact that one of the news outlets was saying that he's got a brother in South Carolina that has property that butts up to his property there, and
Wow.
this guy's he has bomb shelters. I'm not saying that's weird.
Right.
He's just a bit of an eccentric, and he lives way out in the boonies, and he's got private property signs all over. The house is like a fortress. There's gates around. I wouldn't be surprised if his brother doesn't know something, and his brother and him may be in cahoots and doing this together.
Could
Never
be.
know, man. Never know. I've seen crazy stuff like that before.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, I can't remember the case, but I remember, oh gosh, I know the details of it, but it was two friends that were out in the woods that were essentially capturing people in and around that area. And I believe that they end up shooting a couple on the property and burying them, but they were going out and literally snatching women out in and around the neighborhood, and they were filming them actually like torturing these women and talking to them and mentally torturing them for hours before they actually would kill them. And I can't remember. I want to say maybe the last name of the guy was Chan or Chang, Mike Chang or something along the lines of that. But we've heard of things like this before. Friends or people working in tandem to commit crimes. And I'm not saying that his brother is involved, and as we know right now, he's only accused. So what we're just talking about here is being alleged conversation and just maybe speculating a little bit here. So but we'll go on to read the article a little bit here. And it says the underline here says police are eyeing Heuermann's potential ties to Las Vegas, Atlantic City, and South Carolina. Investigators looking into Gigolo beach murders are making sure no stone is left unturned in determining whether serial killer suspect Rex Heuermann had victims in any other states outside of New York. Heuermann is a 59-year-old architect living in Massapequa Park on Long Island at the time of the four Gigolo murders, beach murders, and he is suspected of committing. Also owns property in Chester, South Carolina, and Las Vegas. Police are also eyeballing potential ties to Atlantic City. Shame on us if we don't look at Las Vegas, South Carolina, even Atlantic City. We've got to make sure if anyone has any information, Suffolk County Commissioner Rodney Harrison told ABC7 on Wednesday. So Las Vegas. So here gives us a little timeline of the property that he's purchased. So Heuermann purchased a timeshare in Las Vegas, a few miles south of the Strip, on April 23rd, 2005. Oh my God, man. This guy had property out there since 2005.
Right.
It's crazy.
And if they take canines out there, if they get search warrants for those properties and they take canines out there, what people don't know about cadaver dogs when they're doing a search, if you bury a body, that scent travels through the soil. So it'll go multiple directions. So they could pick up the scent. Let's say the body was buried by a tree. That dog could pick up the scent 200-300 yards away, and it would be very difficult with this amount of time to track back to the actual burial spot. So they have to grid it out, and it could be a very tedious event.
I mean, especially looking back, 2005 too. Yes, that's Charles Neg and Leonard Lake. Yep, that's who I was thinking of. Thank you, Michelle. I see that in the chat. And Tsunami has an awesome quote here from the movie Casino. There's a lot of holes in the desert, and there actually is a lot of holes in the desert. We know what they're talking about. Michelle, yeah, Charles, I think it's Neg and Leonard Lake. Yes, that's a very crazy case. Look into that one if you haven't looked that up. But we'll go on to read here. It says a sex worker disappeared less than 2 weeks after that date, which fuels online speculation that the Manhattan architect could be involved in her murder. Lindsay Marie Harris, 21, an escort who advertised on Craigslist like Heuermann's other alleged victims, has last seen on May 4th, 2005. On May 23rd, 2005, kids found her dismembered legs while playing along Interstate 55 in Dearborn, I think it's Divernon, Illinois, which is about a 24-hour drive from Vegas, but along the route to Heuermann's home in Massapequa Park on Long Island, New York. The 4 victims Heuermann is accused of killing were not dismembered after their deaths. That's crazy, bro. Let's see if there's any update on any of the other all right, so here's South Carolina. Heuermann also purchased several plots of undeveloped land. Oh man. Heuermann also purchased several plots of undeveloped land that backed up onto a lake in Chester, South Carolina in 2022. His brother, Craig Heuermann, has owned land on the same street since 2001. Neighbors told Fox Digital that Craig Heuermann said his brother planned to retire in Chester and buy out other residents on the street. Police seized Heuermann's green Chevy Avalanche as evidence in Gigolo Beach murders from his brother's Chester property. All right, let's see if we have anything else. So Atlantic City, you're going to talk about maybe the possible ties here. In addition to Heuermann's Vegas and South Carolina ties, Commissioner Harris told ABC7 that there are some murders a couple of years ago that were similar to Gigolo Beach murders in Atlantic City, referring to 2006 Black Horse Pike murders of 4 sex workers in Egg Harbor Township. Wow, dude.
Yep, and the similarities are the 2005 she was dismembered, and he's dismembering these girls as allegedly as well, put them in burlap sacks. So yeah, this is going to get deep. And you know what, this is great, Brian, because we're talking about something else that could be even more interesting than the BK case, in my opinion, because this is a whodunit from way back when. We've got these cases have been open for decades, and now we have a viable suspect.
Right.
That's awesome. There's a lot to be talked about.
Yeah, I mean, this could solve multiple murders and give these families peace, give these communities peace. It's horrible what happened to these people. Absolutely. But, we, like you said, we may have a viable suspect now that could be responsible. And then we start, the healing process for these families.
And what better place to get rid of a body than to take it to your brother's property who has acreage and do it there.
Yeah,
I bet you they're going to wind up getting SWs for his brother's property. You watch.
I believe it. I would believe so. So it says, what I'm being told is not a connection, but we want to revisit and investigate. Well, wow. Let's see if we have any other. I heard you own property in Massachusetts as well too, but I haven't been able to quite confirm that yet. But I wanted to just bring that article up.
You're cutting it out, but I don't know if it's me or not. Or
that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of locked up there for a minute.
Sorry, I'll get the mic up a little closer here. Yeah, so I wanted to just bring that article up to kind of start the show off. And then what I do have here is this is from the Law and Crime Network. It's probably the most recent up into the investigation. We'll play this back and see what they have to say here.
I'm standing here with my law enforcement partners in the Gilgo Task Force to announce the indictment of defendant Rex Andrew Heuermann, 59 years of age.
Just 1 week after the accused Gilgo Beach serial.
So are we getting this guy's name right? I heard Heuermann. I'm saying Heuermann now because I got corrected.
I heard Heuermann. That's how I've heard it. I don't know what's proper. We'll just call him Rex.
We'll just call him Rex.
That's a unique name.
Right. Yeah, we'll just call him Rex. All right.
Killer is taken into custody.
Thank you.
The investigation expands beyond New York into multiple other states, where investigators say the killer may have taken more lives.
It's the most prudent and normal thing to do. If you have known entities of this person being in these places for extended periods of time.
Law and Crime Network sat down with former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder, who says it's expected that the investigation will stretch beyond Long Island.
One thing if they transited the airport, right? We're not going to necessarily be looking into cold cases, but if they spent a degree of time there, that is the normal investigatory thing to do. Now, it might not be the quickest in terms of investigations that are going to take place because they are cold cases. However, I'm very confident saying that I 100% believe that they will most likely be looked into. Not every single one, obviously, but ones that might match this particular serial killer's MO.
The accused serial killer is 59-year-old Rex Heuermann, a self-proclaimed Long Island native.
Heuermann. That's probably right then.
All right. Well, all right.
I'll go with Heuermann.
All right. Heuermann. All right. That's what I was saying first, and then I got corrected, and you're like, it's wrong. I'm like,
Rex Heuermann, an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a trouble.
Right there. Let's put the end of the
from the horse's mouth.
Right. Let's put the end of the
mouth.
Right. End of the debate here.
Rex Heuermann, a self-proclaimed Long Island native.
Rex Heuermann, an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
A Manhattan-based architect, Heuermann spoke with YouTube reporters just last year, giving cryptic responses about biding his time and his interactions with other people.
Right.
After all those years, what do you think is the most important qualities a person in your position dealing with it?
So rumor is that this interview was actually a setup to gain intelligence on this guy because they had eyes on him for a little while. And I don't know if that's true, but
no, I absolutely believe that.
You do.
Yeah, I believe that.
Just like I believe that the two stops, two BK stops were intelligence also.
Those were orchestrated 100%. And this was orchestrated because really, why do this interview? Who cares about this, about what the subject is? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I'm with you 100%. I believe they orchestrated it.
Yeah. And it'd be crazy if and when this goes to trial, that maybe comes out or something like that.
And he was a ham too. Tell me that guy wasn't a ham. He was eating it up.
Oh, totally eating it up. Yeah.
You must have
patience.
Talk about when you smack him with the hammer.
I was hoping you would say that.
Yeah. Patience, and I don't like to use the word tolerance, but sometimes you have to. But it's the people, how they're all so different, and how you deal with the people, I think, is one of the more interesting.
Yeah, I want to pull this up real quick. So Jessica says the DNA expert was great explaining the BK case. We're going to play that video back again tonight because we got a lot of shit in last night's episode. I saw some comments. It was about 50-50. So, there's a lot of people out there that don't think that there's any DNA evidence, that it's all falsehoods and it's all been planted. And I I just don't see that. And just like the expert said, this would have had been a setup that had gone years to figure out how they were going to do all this. And even DJ was saying last night, you would have to have the community in on it, the school in on it, the police in on it, the FBI. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
The Pennsylvania State Police.
Yeah. I mean, you name it. His father, his mother, the dog. I mean, I don't know who else.
And I responded to some of those comments today too. I mean, as you know, I asked one person, well, where'd you get your crystal ball? Because I want one of those. If you're saying that there was no DNA on the bed, on the comforter, how do you know that? How does anybody know this stuff?
We don't know yet.
I mean, it's like, what do you you're just assuming that the only DNA that they have is what was on the sheath? I can guarantee you that knife sheath itself has DNA all over it, not just a snap. The snap was easily retrieved. Okay, the rest was sent to the lab, and you'll see that they recovered DNA off that sheath itself.
Yeah. Let's wait. We'll do the second part of the show then.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Interesting aspects that have come out of this.
Just last Thursday, Heuermann was arrested in connection to the Gilgo Beach murders that date back to 2010. In December of that year, investigators recovered multiple sets of remains along the secluded beach in Long Island. Since that time, a total of 11 sets of remains have been recovered in that same area.
Wow.
These young women went missing between July of 2007 and September of 2010. They were found in December of 2010 by the Suffolk County Police Department, and then there was nothing, absolutely nothing. For the next 13 years, their cases went unsolved until today.
Heuermann is now charged in the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello, who were working as escorts at the time of their murders. He's also the prime suspect in the murder of another escort, Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Suffolk County Sheriff Errol Toulon Jr. tells Law and Crime Network Heuermann could soon face additional charges.
There have been many search warrants that have been executed, which could hopefully help us lead us to more evidence in the three that he's currently under what he's charged for this arrest, the one that's pending, and if there's any other connection to any other murders, we will then be able to charge him on those also.
Since his arrest, investigators have spent multiple days combing through Heuermann's Massapequa Park home on Long Island, reportedly recovering bizarre items like a life-size doll and an arsenal full of guns. Walter says it's likely taking investigators so long to go through the home because of the large amounts of evidence being cataloged.
What I always was looking for, when I issued a search warrant, was anything and everything. And I know that that's the worst answer ever, but that's the truth, because that's the point of a search warrant, right? If you go in saying, I am looking for...
Yeah, but, Candy says his house looked like it's falling apart. Of course, because what better way to just blend in?
Right.
What better way just to say, no one's going to ever look at this house. No one's going to ever pay attention. It's a perfect hiding spot for someone like this. I mean, if you look at, even just look at the house in Silence of the Lambs, it just looked like a very ordinary house,
right.
That would just be natural to that neighborhood. He's not out overshining anything or overplaying anything. The guy up there in, I think it was Philadelphia quite a few years back that took Amanda Berry, lived in the neighborhood. It just looked like a very normal house that would be in that neighborhood. So, what better way to blend in? Absolutely.
BTK.
Yeah. BTK. Same thing. Yep. Same thing.
Evidence. You are going to miss the 5,000 other clues. Look, they're going to approach the scene, though, very methodically. Right. And they're going to catalog every single thing that they found, as well as the methods upon which they used to collect it. And what you will see is,
hey, Bryan, can you hold it for a second there?
Yeah.
Now, just go back a little bit where you're seeing those crime scene technicians.
Why did I know you were going to ask me to stop there?
All right. Now, what's different there than what we saw in the Kohberger case?
Right.
Where they were. And it blew me away that they didn't bag those windows so that the public couldn't see what was going on in the house. Now, the one thing that I immediately picked apart was that, because you know what you're doing by not bagging those windows. I mean, you bag them from the outside, as to not, contaminate any evidence. But they allowed the public to see it, which the defense is going to see, and the defense is going to use that video against the case, because there were multiple violations that I saw. These guys are dressed appropriately. You had in the BK case, you had people stepping over what I believe was a body, retrieving evidence, coughing into her arm with no hairnets on, hoodies, from their tie-back suits, not on. You just because you can eliminate yourself as a suspect because of technology does not mean that you should contaminate a crime scene. And that's a problem, I'm telling you right now, that the prosecution is going to have to fight.
Uphill battle on that, yeah.
Because I'm telling you, and somebody got on another show when I brought it up. I was very critical of them.
Right.
And, oh, well, my son's a crime scene tech, and he says they don't really have to do that anymore. Well, that's BS. I'm telling you right now, because there's no possible way that if you went to any IPTM or IACP or any crime scene school, that they would tell you to not exercise. It's no different than if you're a surgeon and you contaminate the sterile field. What happens if you're in scrub? If you're scrubbed in and you contaminate the sterile field, you got to go out and re-scrub and come back in.
Yep.
There's no difference in this.
That was, that's going to be some of the mistakes that's going to be, scrutinized. And like we said, we talked about it yesterday in last night's show that, Ann Taylor is going to attack the police department, their procedure, the way they collected evidence. It's the OJ defense. I mean, we talked about this last night, and I think
the process. That's all they have.
Right. And what happens is if you're good enough, like the Dream Team was back in the OJ case, was they were so good that they attacked the officers, they attacked the process, they attacked the investigation. And what happened? It made the murders go away. And it became about the police department. And Cochran, Bailey, they were just so good at turning that over and making it look like that.
That was the perfect storm, because remember, we had Rodney King, we had Watts, we had all this stuff, all these racial tensions.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got jurors that have come forward and said that they actually, they acquitted him because of racial tensions. They actually came forward and said that. So you had a perfect storm there, and they exploited it, and it worked, unfortunately. And we'll never recover from it, ever.
Right.
I'm telling you, this country will be tainted forever because of that case.
Yeah, it was a crazy times. All right, let's keep
going. I cried. I literally cried.
It was just a crazy time in the justice system where it just seemed like everything went wrong. You had so much going on in LA at the time. Things were crazy out there. America was a little bit crazy at the time. Then it felt like that justice wasn't served, in my opinion. The justice system looked horribly bad. It made the LAPD look really bad. It instilled a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Confidence in police departments. It was just really bad. It was just a really crazy bad time. And I think, like you said, I think this has buckled waves throughout the justice system because of that case. But ultimately, there was some justice when OJ decided to rob someone of his supposed property in Las Vegas. And I think he ended up getting 13 or 15 years.
Right.
So, all right, we'll keep playing through here.
It's upon which they use to collect it. And what you will see is, I think what you will see ultimately is the receipt of the items that were taken.
But it's specifically DNA evidence that Walder believes investigators will be searching for.
That's really when they make the decision. Should I take this notebook? If it doesn't have investigatory value, no. But I might take this hairbrush because it has DNA on it. And that's where you'll start to see the receipt. Most likely they're going to be looking at things that are forensic value. So they will probably be looking for blood. They will probably be looking for any kind of DNA evidence because they have to also establish that he was there at those times as well. And DNA could potentially put him there. More burner phones, more things that he used to communicate. Also, items of clothing that may have been associated.
It was ultimately DNA evidence that led to Heuermann's arrest.
And once we were able to get some DNA evidence, which we were able to get off the pizza crust, off that and the box, pretty much solidified that we actually had the right person.
According to court documents, investigators recovered a pizza box Heuermann threw away in January 2023. The Suffolk County Crime Lab analyzed a piece of leftover crust connecting it to Heuermann. Investigators also found hairs, likely belonging to both Heuermann and his wife, on the bodies of multiple victims. Officials also confirmed.
What do you make of that? You think she gets investigated or talked to?
I don't think she's involved, but those burlap bags would pick up hair very easily because of just the way they're designed. And, let's talk about where these bodies were found. They were found in a marsh, and in a marsh, if people aren't familiar with how that works, you have the ocean, you have a barrier island, and then you have what appears to be a river. And in that river is brackish water. It's not straight up salt water. And that becomes very acidic over time. So you couldn't pick a better place. If you were just going to bury a body, to throw a body in there. And why? Because that marsh smells. So any odor
would cover that smell. Yeah.
Right. It would cover that smell up. Now, the bad thing is that acidic, the acid will break the flesh down, yes, but it'll also preserve the bones. It's like if you look at any prehistoric finds, any dinosaur bones, a lot of them are found in marshy areas and they're totally preserved. So the burlap bag, although it's a porous substrate and it'll, water will flow through it and the flesh will decay, the bones will remain intact. So it may have been a tactful mistake by him when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Because look, they preserved. I guarantee you, they didn't get hair off the bodies. They got hair off those bags.
Yeah. All right, let's keep playing.
His wife was out of the tri-state area when multiple of the murders were committed. Walder says investigators will likely be working to collect DNA from Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup, in the Long Island home as well.
Part of what I would imagine they're doing too, quite frankly, because yes, her hair was found on the victims. I don't believe that she killed those victims. I think it was transfer, and that her husband had her hair on her and transferred that onto the victims, or if he's really diabolical, planted it there.
Here's the thing too, and I want to kind of point this out because we're talking about transfer, and I know that everybody has this big speculation about the knife sheath in the Bryan Kohberger case. Okay, so if this had to have been planted, okay, wouldn't you think that there would be some other transfer DNA from someone that planted it? Now, granted, they could have wore gloves or whatever, but I would think along the lines, just like BK allegedly did, was mishandled this sheath, and you probably had someone at some point that would handle this without, gloves on. I mean,
well, here's the thing too.
Maybe I'm throwing shit against the wall and trying to
bouncing back and forth. We always wind up back on Kohberger, but
right,
the sheath. Well, he didn't intend to leave that sheath there.
Right.
I can promise you that.
Yeah.
So
I'm almost certain of that too.
The speculation that he cleaned the sheath before he went there, why would he do that?
Right.
That makes no sense. So, like I said before, yes, they've got viable DNA off of the snap, which is a smooth metal, surface, and it's easy to retrieve. But the sheath itself is a porous leather. So they sent that off to the lab, and I would be very surprised if his DNA is not all over it, along with the victim's blood. But anyone that says that or assumes that there's no other DNA, I beg to differ respectfully.
So Summer's saying, am I correct in saying his wife was in Sweden during the summer? They said that at key pivotal points when they think that these murders happened, that his wife wasn't in and around town. So, and then Chosen says 100%, 100%, 0% planted, 0% planted. I agree. All right,
I do think that they will be using that, quite frankly, to exclude her. And her attorneys may also want that, to exclude her from any culpability.
Walder says Ellerup has likely already spoken with investigators.
Her statement would be taken and would be used ultimately as evidence, what she knew, what she didn't know, how she knew, if she knew anything, and when she knew. And I think most likely she is being represented, by counsel now. That would be the prudent thing for her, because like I said, I think her focus is going to be proving that she didn't know. And I believe that she may have not known, but that's something that she's going to have to prove to investigators, and that she's not an accessory or an accessory after the fact. And so I think that's the focus for her right now.
It's also likely some of Ellerup's items are being collected during the investigation, and she probably won't see them anytime soon.
She will not be getting that back anytime. I'm trying to say this in a delicate way, anytime soon. It's not that she deserves that. I don't think that she does. But that is not how it works. I would imagine they are going to hold on to all evidence that was collected through trial, if this goes to trial. And so, that could be a year, right? Less than a year. It really depends on what he does. Ultimately, if he pleads, they're going to get those items back a lot sooner. If they are not related to the investigation, she is entitled to get those items back, and she will. I just don't think it's going to be anytime soon, because it all needs to be processed, and it needs to be processed properly. And if they give that back to her too soon, that becomes contaminated, and then it cannot be admissible.
Ellerup has since filed for divorce from Heuermann. Law & Crime Network reached out to her attorney for a comment, but have not yet heard back. As searches of the couple's Long Island home continue, investigators
out in public record yet.
Yeah.
So if we found the clerk of the court for that county, go in and look her up if anybody's got time to see and look him up to see if that. I wouldn't think it would be sealed, but it could be. But you can actually see the divorce being filed with the clerk of the court. It's
right.
Public. It's public information. That'd be something cool to see.
Yeah.
Chester County.
What would it be? Irreconcilable differences?
Yeah, that's what I said the other day. I wonder if she found under irreconcilable differences.
Jeez, man.
South Carolina also issue a search warrant for property owned by Heuermann. A statement from South Carolina officials reads in part, quote, "The Chester County Sheriff's Office has and will continue to work closely with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Suffolk County law enforcement authorities during this very important and arduous investigation." According to court documents, South Carolina officials notably recovered a Chevrolet Avalanche belonging to Heuermann at that home.
So let's just stop this here too. What do we see what do we see? So now everybody can look at another PCA, because here we go about the multiple suspect thing. Okay. Oh, because the way that it said it was suspect vehicle 1. Can you read that second line for me there, DJ? What does it say in quotations?
Oh, hereinafter target vehicle 1.
Target vehicle 1. Target vehicle 1.
So let me, and no one's ever addressed this. I addressed it on another show, and I think it went in one ear and out the other. So when you're doing, we'll use the Kohberger case because we all are familiar.
We're doing parallel here tonight. We're kind of running parallel.
If everyone remembers, all the vehicles were still parked in front of that house. So in the actual report, you have a vehicle page. Okay. So every vehicle, like Maddie's vehicle, would be victim vehicle number 1. Kaylee's would be victim vehicle number 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if their vehicles are the only vehicles and BK's vehicle would be S1. So that would be suspect vehicle.
Vehicle 1.
So this is what they're hitting on this, and it's kind of ridiculous because if you saw the actual incident report, not the affidavit, the actual incident report where it lists all the little things like vehicles, things like that in detail, that's what it'll say. You have a vehicle page and you'll have S1 vehicle. So suspect vehicle 1, you'll have victim vehicle 1, victim vehicle 2, victim vehicle 3, victim vehicle 4. That's what people need to understand, and that's why it says, in my opinion, I know because I've written many of these, so that's how it works here. I would suspect that's how it works there.
Right. So that
makes sense.
Right. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No. I'm saying that for everyone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. We've heard a lot about that, and a lot of people, oh, it's got to be more than one because it just says suspect vehicle 1. Well, right here, target vehicle 1.
Right.
Years prior, a witness reported seeing a similar truck near Costello's home in New York before her disappearance.
Theoretically, the FBI would gather all of that information from them and then be distributing it out to the other jurisdictions. Now, I don't know how they're going to proceed in this case. I can't, obviously tell you for certain, but typically that would be because Suffolk County is probably quite busy, I would imagine, processing all of this and ensuring that he answers for these charges. My guess would be that they would most likely, I don't want to say pass this off because that's not what they're doing, but delegate that work out to the FBI to help them liaise with all these different law enforcement agencies.
As to what items investigators will likely recover in South Carolina, Walder says FBI agents will likely focus on DNA and burner phones.
Those burner phones that he had, and he had several that we know of. We know the ones that he used to communicate with the victims, but what other numbers did he call? What other area codes did he call? And so I think that those are going to be the two places where I think they're going to start. Obviously his DNA, clearly, because now we have it, right? Before it was just genealogical, and that's how they were putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So now that's going to be entered into CODIS, right? Because we know before it wasn't in CODIS because he didn't have any arrests in the past that would have mandated that he provided DNA. So that's the first step. That's going to be entered into CODIS.
But an investigation like this will take time.
I don't want to say it's going to be an easy thing because searching through CODIS actually takes time. It can take days and it can take months. But that's going to be the easiest thing, the easiest tool that these local law enforcement are going to have. That they can go back. The other thing that I think is interesting that I think we need to think about, because sometimes we don't, a lot of local PDs and even state PDs have a backlog of processing of rape kits. And if they were victims who were murdered and sexually assaulted, those rape kits may not have been processed yet. And that is like this other layer that I don't think a lot of folks are talking about yet. But if local PDs are not receiving the money to process that backlog of rape kits, that could be problematic because then that DNA is not loaded into CODIS, and we're not going to get that match, right, that we talk about.
Officials in Las Vegas, where Heuermann owned 2 timeshare condos, are also now taking a look at unsolved cases.
I would think one of the first places they will start is with unsolved cases around the time of him being, very active in Las Vegas, particularly those with sex workers. I think that that's something that they obviously will start with in terms of narrowing down the type or the profile of his victim. But we don't know because there's individuals that were not sex workers that were found in the Go-Go Beach area as well. And so I think it'll be interesting, but I would imagine that's where they're probably going to start.
While it may not be common for a serial killer to travel to commit murders, Walder says it's possible connected victims could be found.
Just want to pull this up. Old-time friend in the room, veteran. So thank you for your service, sir. Appreciate you. He said, don't forget to upvote. Appreciate you, man. Good to see you over here. Probably not your cup of tea, but
across the country.
Good to see you.
I think it depends on the means that the serial killer has and the purpose upon which they have to do this traveling. If you look at Gacy, for example, we know that he mostly stayed, in his little area, and it was more crimes of opportunity that he was committing. But we know in terms of other ones, even Bundy traveled, right? The Green River Killer traveled a little bit. And so I don't think it's that unheard of, particularly when he had, this land in South Carolina and this timeshare in Vegas. He had a reason to be there and he had the means to do that. So I don't want to say it's completely common, but I don't want to say it's never happened either. I think it's probably 50-50 in this case.
Right now, Heuermann is being held in the Suffolk County Jail without bond. He's pleaded not guilty to all charges and is due back in court on August 1st.
All right. So another thing that's been getting put out there is that Heuermann's being compared to the BTK killer, and there's a lot of similarities in that. Brian Enton was reporting the other night. I got a 5-minute video here, and then we're going to transition into Bryan Kohberger. So let's do this here. Let's play this out and see what Enton had to say.
Notorious BTK serial killer Dennis Rader is speaking out from prison now, calling Rex Heuermann, quote, a clone of me. In a letter to Fox News, Rader writes, I was arrested at age 59, married, 2 kids, husband, dad, longtime serial killer, stalker, used electronic devices, lives in a neighborhood undetected.
I tell you, Rader loves being out in that public, doesn't he? He always makes these statements when these people get caught.
And he has diarrhea of the mouth. He loves to hear himself. He was very engaged in the investigation as it was going on, so he's making some very valid points. And I believe that our boy Rex is going to be very similar.
I think so too.
And he's going to want to talk, and he's going to want to, divulge his psyche, because again, there's no death penalty, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
We'll see what Rader had to say.
Heuermann was taken down by DNA and electronics. His downfall, much like me. That's what BTK said. Yeah, he goes on to say he predicted many years ago that the Gilgo Beach murderer was someone just like him, and Rader is currently serving a life sentence for ruthlessly killing 10 people in Wichita, Kansas over the course of 17 years. My next guest knows Dennis Rader and the minds of serial killers really like no one else. Dr. Catherine Ramsland is a professor of forensic psychology.
Also had connections. She also had connections to Bryan Kohberger,
and author of many books, including How to Catch a Killer. And she joins me now. Dr. Ramsland, it's always nice to see you. Thank you for coming on again tonight, especially with this new development that BTK has written this letter.
How odd is all this, huh?
BTK.
Yeah, well, let's see. She documented the BTK killer. She taught Kohberger, and now she's on, a show talking about another possibly prolific serial killer. And I'm not saying that Kohberger is a prolific serial killer. I'm saying it's strange, the parallel that's going on here.
Very ominous. It's
crazy.
It's crazy for sure.
I mean, if that's full circle for her career, holy mother of God. I mean, she's getting a career full now of things to talk and write about. Just crazy.
Right.
Calling the Long Island serial killer a clone of him. I mean, BTK really unlike anyone else with all, you've dealt with him face to face through your studies. I mean, what do you make of this new letter?
Doesn't surprise me. First, Rader used role models himself. He was influenced by Harvey Glattman and H.H. Holmes, to name a few. But he also wants to have some spotlight in this. He wants people to
check this out. So Jessica said there's a caller that calls into the killing season and sounds just like Rex from his YouTube video. The caller is trying to point the murder on some guy who killed himself. Wow, that's crazy.
Really? Is that recent?
Was that recent, Jessica? Because it wouldn't be now, because
can you send that to Brian? I mean,
yeah, he's been arrested. Yeah, we could pull that up. If you can find the video and tell me what timestamp it is, I'll pull it up. Let's play this up.
Know that he made the right prediction, and he wants people to know how similar Heuermann is to him. I think he really just likes to have the attention back on him. What he did do, though, is he lays out all these parallels, and what surprised me is he forgot one, and that is that when he was talking to the police right before he was caught, he had sent them a note telling them to address him as Rex. And by that, he meant they were to talk to his private parts. So Rex also is a parallel in this case, a very odd little fact.
So Rex is, if I'm following you correctly, and I don't want to say anything out of turn, but Rex is the name that he had for his penis, BTK.
Yes. That's right.
What?
So interesting. I mean, I guess it's just a coincidence that this other guy is now named
Rex.
Original, but it is interesting that
Rex.
What the fuck, man? How weird is this?
T-Rex. I'm Rex. This is T-Rex.
Oh my God. So Killing Season was a documentary they made before Rex got caught. Yes, I'll let you know. So, I'm not going to be able to play that. Yeah, I'll probably get whacked if I play that. That's crazy.
Well, at least if, left that out in this letter. If you do review it, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I'll definitely have to look it up. Maybe we can play a couple of clips off it or something. I'll figure something out.
They're talking about their similarities.
Yeah, it kind of surprises me because I think he would. I mean, he told it to me. It's in the book. I'm surprised that he forgot about that.
Yeah, very, very strange. I want to ask you, it's interesting, both with BTK and with the Long Island serial killer, they both seem to sort of taunt the victims from what we know, and even taunt the media to an extent. What do you make of that? What do you make of that similarity between the two?
I don't have Hulu.
Well, there actually are some differences, some pretty significant differences. Rader entered homes of ordinary people to murder them. He wasn't looking for sex workers, which was what Heuermann was doing. He didn't really show disdain for his victims the way Heuermann is doing. So there are some differences. Plus, Rader handed the police the computer disk that got him caught. That's very different from what happened with Heuermann. So to kind of put these similarities out there is a bit disingenuous. He really tripped himself up in a way that was not the case with this Long Island case.
Yeah, and you made a good point about BTK wanting attention. I remember with other cases too, he's written letters, and it seems like he tries to find these similarities and sort of remain relevant to a certain extent. Yeah. Is there any chance that, that the Long Island serial killer and BTK could have corresponded, or that
they already are, Brian.
That he could have been
right? Yeah, it's coming. Believe me.
Oh yeah.
Inspired by BTK in some way, do you think?
I don't see it. I certainly hadn't heard of any correspondence between them. I think, and Rader would have told me if he had letters from someone like this. I think Rader would like to believe that somebody would copy him, but Heuermann was so different in the kinds of victims he was going after and what he was doing. I don't really see him looking to Rader as his role model. I don't know that he looked to anyone, but we don't even know if he was motivated in the same way. For all we know, he was motivated by anger or a mission to punish sex workers. We don't know what his motivation was, so he might not be as much like Rader as Rader thinks.
Thank you for watching.
Hey, wow. Brian, if I could, I'd like to respond to Lil Love. Yeah, she said, DJ is the reason why DNA, and she's referring to BK, of course, is the reason why DNA is not found because they haven't done a crime scene before. Okay, well, Moscow didn't handle that crime scene because they immediately asked for help, and Idaho State Police sent the crime lab out there. And it's like here in Florida, we have what's called FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. So they come out and they handle a lot of your crime scene processing. So Moscow didn't have the experience, the wherewithal, the technology, the equipment, nothing to handle a crime scene of this magnitude. That's why the governor immediately gave him $1 million, and the Idaho State Police got involved. And then I don't know how the call was made to bring the FBI in, but that was done. So, and what's funny is on another show, the chief had made a comment that I thought was very cocky, and I had said, look, he can say what he wants to say, but this is not his investigation anymore. This case is well out of his hands. He's basically a liaison with the media at this point, but he's got the FBI, he's got Idaho State Police, he's got WSU involved, which are, much bigger departments than his. So it's funny because the next day he did this press release saying, and he was pissed. He was like, and let me clear this up. This is our case. we are in control of this case. No way. No way. He was not in control of this case. He was nothing but a fact gathering, report taking agency, but the other entities were handling it. So, excuse me, to answer your question, we don't know. You're assuming that there's the only thing that we know is that there was DNA on the sheet. So to say that there was no other DNA evidence retrieved is it's premature, because we don't know that. We don't know what was retrieved, because there's a gag order for one, and we don't have access to any of the reports. This is all going to start coming out in the evidentiary hearings, the suppression hearings. These are all you're going to start getting info when these hearings start taking place. But until and if the judge releases the gag order, we're not going to hear anything unless somebody leaks something.
Yeah, which has been happening. So
to assume that there's no other DNA, yeah, I would 100% say that there's other DNA.
Yeah. So is a great segue, because we are going to get into the Bryan Kohberger segment of the show now. We're about that hour mark, and I want to do kind of a split show this evening. So we'll start answering some questions here first, and then I do have an article, because Monday is going to be a very important day in the Bryan Kohberger case. But let's just get to this question first. So I just heard that if Bryan confessed to his lawyer, he can't produce an alibi.
Do what now?
I just heard if Bryan confesses,
he can't produce an alibi. I don't think that's true, because
attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, she's still got to defend him.
Right.
That's a question for an actual
lawyer,
trial lawyer.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the answer for that.
I can answer a lot of things, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure
about
a lawyer.
Yeah. All right, so Melissa French, we'll just get this out of the way as well. She's asking, Detective John, do you still talk to or go on to T-Rev's channel anymore?
No, I do not, and I will address that situation when I start my show, and I will tell the story. I've got a story to tell, and you will all want to tune in, because I'm telling you right now, there's some things that happen that are very disturbing to me, and that's why I pretty much kind of let everyone know in chat that I wouldn't be on the show much more anymore. But that's something that I'll address for another day. But there are some things that you all need to know, and I will divulge what I know, and it will be quite embarrassing. That's all I'm going to say.
As far as LTL podcast, I just want to put this out there. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, you have nothing to do with that, Bryan. In fact, you said, hey, leave me out of it, and I haven't tried to drag you in it at all. But somebody asked the question,
what's going on. That's information between John and T-Rev that has nothing to do with me. So I just want to make sure that I put this out there, and I just want to put this out for the ether, because I know people watch this stuff. I have no issue with T-Rev. I respect him, and I respect his channel. He's got his, what I call, shtick on his channel, and he does a great job at it. Obviously, he's doing something right. He's killing the algorithm, and I have nothing but respect for him. I've had some conversations back and forth on Twitter with him, just tweeting at each other, and that's as far as I've ever talked to him. I have gone into his chat before. I've dropped him couple super chats here and there, but I have no issue with him. Whatever's proceeded before John started joining my panel is their business. So
and his subscribers are for the most part great people. I mean, they're all, they're on the same page as we are. They're for justice, and they lean toward, the law, and they don't jump into these conspiracy theories. There are some that still go to the show, and that's what I want on my show. I want both. And I want to have healthy debate, like we have healthy debate here, and it's going to be fun. And you're going to be on panel with me. I'm going to be on panel with you, and we're going to attack this from different angles, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So everybody, stay tuned. Bryan's going to grow tremendously. I love his content. I love his character. I love his integrity, and his demeanor is just perfect. He's very well spoken. You know, he's articulate. He's got the whole package. So
thank you.
yeah, man. And I gravitate toward people like that, and I'm not saying anything bad about T-Rev, but
sure.
there are some things, there's a reason why I'm not
sure
participating in his show anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jessica said, I've never heard T-Rev say anything bad. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about him. I don't even know him. I've never even had a conversation like this with him. So I respect what he does. He has a great channel. His audience is fun. I love listening over there every once in a while. He's got some really crazy people that call in a good way. I'm saying not anything bad.
And I appreciated my time over there. It was kind of an accident how I even wound up on the show. And I appreciated the time and met a lot of nice people. And, it was great, while it lasted. But, I'm a kind of a straightforward guy. I don't get into lies.
Right.
And I certainly wouldn't throw somebody under the bus. If I make a mistake, I own it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you'll hear the story. And when you guys hear the story, you guys will understand what happened. And it has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with someone else that was crucified on his show recently.
Okay.
And that person I feel very bad for. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on.
So Michelle says, I agree with you both. It's between T-Rev and John, not the rest of the world. Sure. So whatever proceeds after this is their business. Like I said, it doesn't have anything to do with me. Like I said, I don't know T-Rev in any personal way, but I respect him on the platforms. Obviously a great creator because he's killing it over there, and well deserved. So we'll move on from that. I don't want to get too much more into that. It's not really my business, and it's not really for the world to. They'll figure it out. that's you guys. All right. So big day coming up on Monday. Here we go. We're gonna get into the Idaho segment here. I know everybody's been waiting for this. So Idaho murder update. Bryan Kohberger may release new details about an alibi. I don't think so. It's just my opinion. I'm going to say, don't hold your breath on Monday, people. Don't hold your breath. I think he's going to stand in silence, which is going to create a whole nother conundrum things in this case. But we'll see what the article says. So Bryan Kohberger could reveal new details about his alibi on Monday. We know the background here. So at the time, Kohberger was a graduate student. We have all this. He said that he was eager to be exonerated. Kohberger was charged. There's more history that we know. Let's see. Are we getting into any other? Monday is the deadline for Kohberger's legal team to file an alibi. The first deadline for the alibi was in June, but Kohberger's public defender, Ann Taylor, requests the deadline to be extended on the account of not having enough time to review the evidence provided by the prosecution. According to the report by CBS News, Taylor said the evidence includes thousands of pages of discovery, thousands of photographs, and hundreds of hours of recording. I would say that's probably a lot of evidence in this case. Wouldn't you say, Detective John?
Yeah.
So all the people that say in the comments from like last night, oh, they don't have anything on this guy. Even Ann Taylor can't even get through all of it. There's so much of it.
Right. There's no way that this trial is going to go in October.
I don't think so.
And she's the reason why she said that was to protect his, obviously his right to a speedy trial. But the way that she did it, to me, it was kind of like sending a message to the public, because this is such a public case that, you know what, we got this. My client's innocent. So we'll be able to go to trial in October, no problem, because, my client's going to be exonerated. And that's just kind of like, just feeding crumbs to all of us, and like I said, she's doing a great job and, with public opinion. So there's many people out there that think he's innocent. I'm not one of them.
A lot of people out there that think he's innocent, and I get attacked in my comments all the time. And this is a thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands. I'm going to back this article out for a second. Let me break it down for all you guys. All right. I'm going to be very transparent. I've been very transparent on my podcast, and I have every single right to feel this way because it's my First Amendment right. And I can feel this way because I am my own human being. Okay, so this is my platform. I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, I think that the evidence is very strong in the Bryan Kohberger case against Bryan Kohberger. I feel that way. I've read through months of these documents. I've connected a lot of these dots with myself and some amazing panel members that have joined on this panel. Okay, it's led me to believe that the evidence is very strong against him. But with that being said, and I don't know why everybody doesn't understand this, that Bryan Kohberger, as of right now, can you read the words coming out of my mouth? Another good famous quote from a movie. Right now, Bryan Kohberger is innocent until proven guilty, and he will get his due process the day if and when this goes to trial. Okay? And like I said, someone was challenging me about the evidence. If the evidence points during the presentation of the trial and it points out that Bryan Kohberger did not do this and he is exonerated, then we got a lot of work to do still. We need to go out there and find out who did this.
Right.
So I want to make it very clear. I can have an opinion based on the facts, based on the evidence in this case, that I feel like it's a very strong case against him. I'm not saying that he's convicted guilty. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I'm saying the evidence is strong. Okay. But I just want everybody to understand that. And we're going to go through the trial if it gets to trial. We don't know. He could take a plea. We don't know. We don't know. But that's how I feel.
And I'll respond to Kelly D.
How I feel.
Kelly D says it's really frustrating, all the misinformation. He's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Absolutely. We are not the court of law. No, we are not the court of law.
No.
The only thing that I try to bring to the show is just how the investigation took place, what's going on, how these hearings are going to come to fruition and what they're going to talk about, what they're going to try to do. But it's like Bryan just, eloquently said, we all have the right to feel how we feel. It doesn't change the fact that, in the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty.
100%.
That doesn't change my feeling that he's innocent until proven guilty, because that's a fact, period. Now, do I believe, based on my experience, knowing I know, I think I'm a little more qualified than a lot of people to opine that this guy is more than likely guilty? Yeah. But that doesn't change the fact that he's got the right to due process. Now, you need to keep in mind, circumstantial evidence is what we have right now. We're hearing a lot of. We do have some physical evidence, which is the DNA on the sheath. Okay, but there's a lot more here, and
we'll get into this.
That's me using my common sense to come to that conclusion that he's guilty.
And that's the thing, is that I have lost a lot of people in my live chat. I have lost some people that have unsubscribed because I don't toe the rope like other channels. It's sexy and it's fun to twist the narrative, and it's sexy and fun to sit there and listen to 5-hour streams with 9 million people coming in on those panels and throwing all this other crap that's out there. And in fact, and the way that I look at it is you're just really muddying the water. You're really leading people in misdirection. Why don't you do this? Why don't you have a podcast or a live where you pull up documents and you read through them in a very thorough way and let your audience members decide, instead of taking them down this fucking yellow brick road that it's not the right way to go about this. Read through the documents,
You know what, Bryan, what people don't realize, and I think they just don't know this fact, circumstantial evidence is evidence. So people think that just because they have circumstantial evidence that doesn't mean anything. Well, it's the culmination and the preponderance of the evidence that will be put together in a trial by the prosecution team, and they're going to paint a picture for all of us, just like they did in the Murdaugh case. They're not going to have all the facts that because BK is not going to tell us. Okay. So they're going to give you a summary as to what they think happened and why they think it happened. Now, that's all up to the jury to decide whether they buy it or not.
It's funny, Brooke just typed that as you were talking through it. She said, you can get convicted on circumstance alone. I've seen many people put away with much lesser evidence than Bryan against him. And the thing that I'm getting tired of, and we're still seeing this stuff, is there's streams out there still involving Brent Kopaka. That is a veteran that has passed away. And this poor guy's name keeps getting dragged through the mud that has nothing. There's no inkling that that guy is involved in this case. Let that man rest in peace. I'm tired of this. It's disgusting. I still see streams that pop up. There was a creator that was making like 3 or 4 days out of this. I'm like, leave the guy alone. We've settled this. Didn't Dateline do a special on him and just was talking to one of his close friends and say, I cannot believe that they're continuing to drive this poor guy's name through the mud.
You know what, Bryan? I'm going to make an analogy, and some people may not like it. Okay. So, and my analogy is going to be referring to when a dog defecates in your yard. So when your dog defecates in your yard and you leave it there and you don't pick it up, what's attracted to the
flies?
Okay. So these other creators that are pushing these crazy narratives, they're the feces, and the flies are the subscribers that come to them every day. And that's how I look at them. And I'm sorry, I'm saying it. I don't care. I don't care what any of you think. When I do my show, I'm going to go after every comment
fired
they
up.
say.
Here it comes.
I'm going to go after them, and I'm going to call them out. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to have mods bring me information that they hear throughout the day, and we are going to speak the truth. We're going to eat them alive.
Yeah.
And
I can't.
In the end, we'll see what happens. Now I'm not going to say anything bad about them. I'm just gonna repeat what they said.
I just
and then
can't.
I'm going to answer questions.
Yeah, I can't get behind something, and I've talked about this before, that I cannot say things and I cannot believe in things here on this podcast if I cannot lay my head down at night and feel good about it. I would not be out there saying anything. And the thing is that when you're bringing these people up, you're dragging their names through the mud, you're dragging their families through this horror. You're making implications about these people that have nothing to do with this case. And also, and I've talked about this before when Laura was on the panel, when Laura was on a couple of my panels way back months ago, when the Gonzalez family was getting attacked because he was out in the limelight and he was trying to get on every news station. Well, God damn it. If my daughter and her best friend was murdered as well on the same night, I would be out there fighting for my daughter and her best friend as well, too. You're damn right. I'd be on every show talking about this from here to Timbuktu. Of course I would. I would be out there fighting for her name to make sure that this person or people or whatever did this and they're put away and they don't ever see daylight ever again. Of course, if I was that father, of course I would be out there doing every show to get this out there into the national and world attention. Absolutely. 100%. There's nothing wrong with a family or a father or a mother, a brother getting out and being public and sticking up for their deceased, relative or daughter. There's nothing wrong with that. And these creators vilified them, and people that come into the chat and say all these nasty things about this family. Oh, he talks too much. Oh, he just wants airtime. Well, you goddamn right. I'd want airtime too if my daughter was brutally murdered.
If that was my daughter, he was mild. If one of those victims were my daughter, I'd be in the news. I can tell you that much. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's just I don't get it.
But I've lived my life. If that was my daughter, somebody would be paying.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. What it is with people. I think that there's just people out there that just like to fight these narratives and stir people up and stir things up. You know, they're shit stirrers.
You know what? It's kind of like you've always seen a kid that wants attention, and he does things.
Yeah,
she does things to get attention, and they'll say things and they'll do things, and it's like these people or the trolls are just seeking attention. But what are they getting for that attention? They're getting unethical clicks, and they're getting paid.
How would you feel if people were saying that about your family? That's the way that you have to look at, I look at it that way. But the problem is that there's a huge disconnect, because the disconnect is I'm behind a computer screen. We call them what? We used to call them telephone tough guys, but now they're what?
Keyboard tough guys.
Keyboard warriors.
And
because
girls.
There's no real accountability. And that's what I said. If you were standing in front of Steve Gonzalez's face, would you say that to his face? I'm going to tell you right now, 100% they would never say it. Because you know why? They'd get punched. They'd get punched.
Right.
They'd get punched.
It's just, it's comical. Sometimes I'll just go over and I'll laugh. I'll just laugh. I spit a drink out the other day. I was laughing so hard.
So let's recognize this 20. Lou, thank you so much. He says, Detective John, keeping it real. We appreciate you. Thank you,
Lou.
Yeah, man. All right, let's pull up this article a little bit here. We'll get through this. And then we have some new footage of the King Road house, courtesy of JLR. And I do want to play that. It's the most current footage. You know what? I got to say this, and I'm going to put this out there. I think JRL is a hardworking creator. I think he gets a lot of shit from other creators and from viewers and stuff, but I give him tremendous credit, because you know why? He's the type of person, he's a go-getter. He's been out in the field. I mean, he traveled from Spokane, Washington to Idaho, and he was just in Alabama the other day covering the Carly Russell case. So if you got to give that guy a lot of credit. I don't have the ability to get out there and do that. I wish I did.
He's tenacious, man. I love him.
He's a go-getter,
tenacious, bro.
Man. And he might be a little wacky or funny or goofy, a little weird.
I don't think he's wacky or funny. I think he's genuinely, he's just
he doesn't give bullshit.
I mean,
he doesn't give bullshit.
He wears his hat a little crooked, but
yeah,
I wear my hat a little crooked sometimes.
That's his shtick, but he's boots on the ground. He's boots on the ground.
I give the man tons of props.
100%.
Really do.
100%. And if he ever watches this and wanted to come on LTL podcast, I'd invite him in 2 seconds. He can come over and hang out. We'd love to hear his story. Absolutely. All right, let's pull up the rest of this article and see what we got. So it says on Monday, Kohberger's legal team could file an alibi that would include Kohberger's whereabouts during the murders and any corroborating facts. However, he could not file a response at all, or his legal team could again request more time. DJ, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to file, or they're going to request more time? I don't think they're going to have an alibi. I'm going to tell you that right now. I just don't see it.
Well, they're going to request more time, and they're probably going to get it, because Judge he's very fair, and you've heard me say it before, he's a constitutionalist. And again, that's not a bad word, everyone. That just means that he's a little more, in my opinion, he probably leans a little more to the defense. I don't know what, we'd have to look up what he was before. Was he a defense attorney? Was he a prosecuting attorney? What was he? He might have been a little of both, but what did he spend most of his time doing? So I think he's a constitutionalist, so that leads me to believe he might have been a defense attorney, and he's gonna give them some leeway, and rightfully so, because this case, there's a lot of eyes on this case, and it's like you pointed out yesterday. If they don't, then it's gonna be hell. There's gonna be appeals, and there's no reason why he shouldn't give them a little more time. Give them more time. There's a plethora of evidence that has to be reviewed, but and the bottom line here is they want that cast report. They want it. Okay. And that's
and I think they want to see that grand jury testimony.
They want to see the grand jury testimony, but that cast report is what they're going to build their alibi around. Yeah. And that cast report is probably going to be one of the last things they get.
So let's look here. So a little bio on John C. Judge has been in Latah County Magistrate since October 2008. Prior to his appointment to the bench, he enjoyed private practice in Moscow for 24 years with Landeck, Westberg, Judge, and Graham. He graduated from University of Idaho College in 1984 and has been active throughout his career in speaking law students, serving organizations devoted to administration of justice, ethics, the rule of law, including 2 terms as president of the Ray Nichols American Inn of Court. He currently serves in Idaho State Tribal Court Forum and Idaho Supreme Court Guardianship Conservatorship Committee and Magistrate Standards of Foreign Practice Committee, the Child Support Guidelines Committee, and District Magistrate Commission. Judge loves his work and family and life. He is not when he's not working, he's playing outside. He's appointed to serve the adjacent member of Judicial Council in July of 2016. So that's
all right. That kind of answers my question.
Sure.
You know, so he was a defense attorney, but he was probably a civil attorney. He was probably a divorce attorney because he's part of the Child Support Guidelines reviews. So that's telling me that he was more than likely heavy in the divorce end of it. And but he's also a defense attorney.
Yeah, I gotta actually point this out. So JLR, right? He's been down in Alabama investigating the Carly Russell case, and that was that young lady that pulled off the highway. You know, the case we did the other night down in Alabama and faked it. Well, I don't want to say faked, but said that she was abducted. She got saw a 2-year-old baby, a small boy off the highway, and ended up disappearing. So JRL actually went down there. And he went to the highway and went through that area. He went up into the woods and found this tunnel that you could get from where she stopped to get into the woods and get up on actually a hill embankment and look down over the highway. And then her house was literally, he said, 2 miles north of that. So it's leading me to believe she knew what she was doing, allegedly. And he said, I find it interesting because she had a bathrobe with her, she had toilet paper, and she had food. So he's saying that she probably camped out in those woods and just walked back home after. Really good stuff. That was some really great videos.
Yeah. He's boots on the ground for sure. He's doing way more than the mainstream media, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's really good stuff. All right. So again, I think come Monday, I don't think there's going to be any alibi. I don't think they're going to put in any type of motion. I think there's going to be some requests for more time. And I think DJ probably agrees with that as well, too.
Yeah, I 100% agree with it.
All right, let's pull up JLR. He's got the most recent update on the Moscow, Idaho King Road home. This is the most recent video that I've seen. I haven't seen any others. And let's see what he has to say here. So you can see that security tower off to the right. It's all it looks like it's all fenced in now. Look, that fence wasn't up before. I know you could probably get into that backyard. Obviously, the house is still all boarded up. To the left, you have a toilet area for the guards, and but we'll see what he has to say get a feeling for the area. There's the apartments. Oh, and we might get some views here on the surrounded houses that have been blurred out on Google. So let's see what we got here. Now that house in front, that one to the right, that's the one that has the light bulb camera. Or had the light bulb camera. Oh, look at the shrine. I wish he'd walk. I hope he walks that street. I want to see some recent video of that street.
Well, he tried to walk up the side of the complex.
Yeah.
And they came out and told him he was trespassing.
So, I mean, really quiet down there. You would think there'd be more people, but they're probably really chasing people out of there, I'm sure.
Yeah. I would want to go around the back and get that bird.
Yeah.
That's where I would be.
Yeah.
Does he do that here? Does he go around the back?
I watched this the other day, but I don't know. I've watched some stuff.
Because that's eerie to me.
Yeah.
Come on in. We'll talk.
Let's see what he says here. So he did this was a live he did the other day. It's about 15 minutes.
I saw
you try to play through it.
He needs to get one of those shoulder harnesses that holds
body. Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
All right.
Let's see what he has to
What's
say
it looking like?
Maybe we can gift him one.
Right.
So the home is still up. Good reception. Hi, Arkansas Penny. So they got a couch in front of the home here. That was not here the last time I was here. So I think
that's the couch from the backyard.
That's the one on the back porch.
Yeah.
Of this demolition. No, the demolition got delayed. But this is what the scene of the house looks like. We're talking 7 months later.
He goes back to Linda Lane and finds more camera positions too. We're gonna watch that.
Okay.
So we'll see. Oh, he is gonna walk up
7
that road.
months later. You see how the trees full in? Trees are full.
Yeah, the wintertime there wasn't the foliage on the trees.
Everyone.
So you could see through them real easy.
It's the Moscow, Idaho home. Got the fencing up.
Boots on the ground. Good stuff, JLR. Good stuff.
Boarded house still. Still got boards. Still got that satellite dish up there.
Yeah, that'll stay forever until that house gets torn down. All right, this is what everybody wants to see. That back area of the house.
My favorite channel since November 2022. Thank you. Who said that? Cagney.
Look at that.
So it looks like all that stuff.
She didn't even have
that was out there before
on her sliders.
What's that?
She didn't have curtains or blinds on her sliders at all. Remember in the beginning when they were showing footage from back there and she had her sign up? I mean, it was wide open.
Right.
I mean, that's just
my favorite channel since November 2022. Thank you. Who said that? Cagney. So it looks like all that stuff that was out there before. I think there was a grill last time and everything got moved. They still got the crime scene tape around.
DJ, let me ask you a question. If you were there, you know, as much time as you know you've put into really studying this and going over it, and you had the opportunity to stand in front of that house, what do you think what you would feel? You know, what would you feel in that moment driving up that, and you know, driving up King and then turning and seeing that house for the first time?
You mean not knowing that anything happened there just in general, or you mean post?
No, I'm saying now that we know what happened, seeing that house the way it is now. Let's just say you have a ticket to fly there tomorrow. Someone's going to take you up to the house so you can see it. You turn that corner and see that house for the first time.
You know,
what is your reaction?
The honest answer, and if anyone would say that they wouldn't honestly feel the same way, you go to a dark place.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take yourself to a place that you're not comfortable with, which would be as a person that's surveilling. You know, a lot of people, they misuse the word stalking. And here's what a lot of people don't know. You're not stalking, or you're not being stalked until you know, in a court of law, until you know you are being stalked. So if he was in everyone's mind actually stalking one of the girls or the girls, really he's just surveilling them because they have no idea that they're being watched. You're not being stalked until you know you're being watched. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's just the technical part of the law. But you have to put yourself in a dark place. So I would put myself in his shoes. I would be that deviant that is, perverted, thinking about, whatever. I don't know if this was sexually driven. We don't know. We don't know what it was. I would suspect that he was infatuated, or, he could have just had an encounter with one or both of the girls, and maybe they weren't nice to him. Maybe something happened that we don't know about. Maybe there was a digital footprint of a conversation where he might have went into, and I'm hypothetically speaking here. I'm just saying, you asked me what I would think and where I would go. I would put myself there on that back lot right there where if you want to go to that picture and put it up, I'll walk people through what I would think. So here we are now. Pan over to the actual house. Now remember, this foliage isn't here. Those leaves aren't there. It's wintertime. It's 28 degrees the night that this happened. So you perch yourself in that lot and you look through those sliders and you've got a pretty clear view of Kaylee's room. Her bed's right there. The dog's right there. You can sit there and do, again, I don't want to offend anybody, or, if you're a sexual, if you're into that stuff, you're sitting there and you're doing your deed. You're doing the most horrible thing that you can imagine somebody would do. Okay. But you've got a bird's eye view right here. You are almost at eye level right there. You can park your car right there and sit and watch for hours. So that's where I would bring myself, and I would try to figure out what was going through his mind. I would close my eyes, and my assumption is that, he accosted one of the girls, put a knife to her throat, took her upstairs. They wound up in the same room. Dog was locked up, and I don't believe he went there to kill 4 people. I don't believe that. I believe that there was an encounter coming down from the rooms. But we're going to know this, and a lot of people don't understand this either. We're going to know who was killed first, and the reason why we're going to know that is the DNA transfer, the blood transfer. So if he stabbed, alert here, if he stabbed Kaylee first, okay, and then Maddie started fighting, or vice versa, and he stabbed Maddie, then he's going to have a transfer of Kaylee's blood DNA into the wounds of Maddie. Okay. Then if he goes downstairs and he has the 2 of their DNA and Ethan and Xana, then we know that those 2 were killed after the girls upstairs. So that theory of who was killed first will be answered. I promise you.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, Brian.
Yeah, I think for me,
just kind of put yourself in a dark place.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I would be extremely emotional. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably would cry.
Right.
Because of all the, just knowing everything, Like I've said before, I need to know what happened. Like I need to know what happened. I'm so vested in this to find justice for these individuals. Like I need to know what happened. And I think I would be, emotional. I think my heart would probably race. And then I would go to a place just like DJ said, you would put yourself in as crazy it sounds and probably as sick as it sounds, you would have to try to put yourself into that mode of how could this have happened if I was an individual that did this? Let's look at the area. Right. Let's look at the area. Let's surveil the area. Let's try to put in some scenarios of like how this all went down. So it'd definitely be a very emotional experience for me. I know that for sure. All right, let's play through. Go ahead.
And you know what? I've closed my eyes many times on cases and done the exact thing that I just described to you. And it's an uncomfortable place to go.
Sure.
But, some people have a good imagination. I have a great imagination. So I'm in the process of writing a book, and it's about a serial killer. There's no truth to it, but it's one day I'll finish it.
All right, let's play this, and we'll get some eyes on the house here.
And everything got moved. We still got the crime scene tape.
And when we're done, Brian, if we could, we can talk about the destruction of this house afterwards, because I've got some points I'd like to make. I know you do too.
Yep.
Look how shaded in the trees it looks, right? You can't even see the home in the summertime. Like it literally blends into the mountain or the hill. We'll call it a hill. We'll call it a mountain. I'm going to give you guys a summertime perspective.
Okay, cool. He's going to go back down in the neighborhood. These are that. Oh, good. He's going to point out where the camera positions are and stuff. Cool.
Right. See that view right there?
I mean,
that's like, but if you go,
you're almost at like eye level, bro. Like
you're
right there.
You're right there.
Like it almost looks like you could literally just jump from there and grab the railing. It's so close.
But Kaylee's slider is on the far side there. But if you pan back, you can't really see anything because of the foliage. But in the wintertime, you would have a direct view of her bedroom.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And for the life of me, I hope that she wasn't that naive. Yeah. But I think she was. And unfortunately, kids are today.
Yeah. Let's see. He's going to go back down there. I want to see houses in the neighborhood that he's probably going to point out where camera positions were.
I've actually reached out to Einan Harsh, but he didn't want to talk, or he was like, I charge $200 an hour for interviews. I think he was being sarcastic.
That guy's a joke.
Yeah, that guy's a joke.
Absolute tool. Yeah.
I wouldn't waste my breath.
I wouldn't give him any time. JLR, don't waste your time with that.
So a lot of people are wondering what was my purpose in Idaho. So I will say that I've been doing work here. I was with the film crew all day. That will come out.
He's probably in Netflix series. He's going to be in the Netflix. He's going to be in the Netflix series, I bet you. Good for him. If he is, right. That's great.
That is good.
He's worked hard. He gets out there and he tracks this stuff down and comes up with some really good things. And I hope that someday I have the ability to take, my kind of show on the road like he does and really go out to these particular areas.
And you know what? I don't know about the man's past. I don't really care. Right. I mean, people have to overcome things sometimes, and I give him credit. If he has a past, that's none of my business.
I don't even know anything about his past.
I don't really care. But people have mentioned that he was in prison. But hey,
it looks like he's turned his life around
now. Yeah, I mean, he's made something out of himself. He's not laying around sucking on a government tit.
Yeah,
that I know of. I mean, he's obviously doing something with his life.
And I mean, from his lives at his house looks nice and clean. And I don't know anything about the man, but I just admire his work that he gets out behind his keyboard and goes to actual locations and hunts this stuff down. So
yeah,
I got to give him some credit.
We
a lot more than I am.
We need him.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
I appreciate it.
And I hope he doesn't mind that I'm playing this on my podcast because.
No, I don't think he's that type of person. I think he could care less. He enjoys it.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep playing through here.
Still got that guard shack there. Still got that cool guard shack.
His boots on the ground. Yep. I wonder if there's someone in there right now.
Too. Got AC in the mix. And then they got these stuff.
You have to. You would fry in that thing if you want. All right. Go to the front of that. Yes, it's what we want to see. That is, the left is where that light bulb camera was. And hang on, this house to the left that he just spun around has been blurred out by Google as well. And I want to see that. Let me see if I can go back. Hang on. So the house to the left is the light bulb camera. Okay. I'm just pointing this out for everybody. When he spins to the right,
neighborhood,
this house has been blurred out as well too. So I'm thinking in some way here, there's got to be a camera position somewhere.
Right.
But I mean, I can't see anything here because of the blurry video, but.
Well, they may also blur it out just because they may just be witnesses there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think somebody's in it.
Wouldn't have to be a camera.
I think somebody's in it. You know, I got the no trespassing sign. Oh, did you guys know that Linda Lane? Let me go up here a minute. Go around the other end. I want to show you about that Linda Lane.
You see where he's standing right there?
So,
Brian? Okay, in the beginning of the case, I don't know if anyone remembers it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Investigators were right there, and there were skid marks right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody remembers that, and I don't know if it's relevant or not, but there were skid marks right there. And the reason why is probably because it wasn't a fast acceleration. It was probably the roads were getting a little icy because of, the next day it snowed, didn't it? And it's 28 degrees and condensation. Yeah. Going up that slope, you're going to spin some tires.
Yeah.
That was just an observation I made.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be great because he's going to walk this property and
assuming
see this. I mean, this is the most current video of this property that I can find. I mean, this was only filmed like a few days ago.
Yeah, this is where he gets told he's trespassing right up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll walk over.
I watched part of this.
Got it. Yeah, I watched like 2 minutes in the beginning, and I was like, we'll just play it live and get the reaction. Someone's going to come out and tell him you got to go.
It is. I mean, even in the wintertime, that's a hill. To go all the way up past the house, like if it's ice in here and snow, which I've seen before, going all the way up that hill, man, you'll slide. You'll start sliding. But look, even on this end of the house, in the summertime, can't even see it. Can't even see it. So this is the Queen Street Apartments. We all know about Queen.
All right, we got 81 likes. If I can get up to 100 likes, that would be great because that would push this out into the algorithm. Let's smash that like button. It's free to do it. If you can smash that like button, I would appreciate
it. And some people, Brian, I found out some people don't know where the like button is. They really don't. That little button.
It's down there just below your video there. Someone unclicked the like button. That little up button. You guys found it. That's great. Keep smashing that. We only need 15 more, and I'll gift out another membership here.
Take you over here.
Let's get to 100.
Careful, Kohberger doesn't grab you.
I can't believe he said that. That's pretty good.
What did he say? I missed it.
He said, "Careful, Kohberger."
This neighborhood's empty too, by the way, because apparently most of the people around here are part of college, and
someone's talking.
It's they're going to college. They won't be back to like August of next year. So, but that Linda Lane over here, this is Linda Lane, and this was the area where that footage came out. Now, I don't know if that footage
early
is real.
on, he pointed out those cameras months before any of the video came out.
Yeah, he's been on it.
That was very, very, that was awesome.
It's good.
He pointed these cameras out before.
Good journalism. Else. I don't even think the mainstream media even showed that.
No.
It's good journalism.
Apparently, the 3-point turn was made around here, somewhere around here, because the footage of Linda Lane is actually over here, and I'll show it to you.
This is great.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
right there is where that truck was parked.
Yeah,
it came from
where the white vehicle was.
Right there.
And that house has a shit ton of cameras on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all are. Look.
Yeah. And those are more than likely on separate DVRs. That's why there's probably more than one.
And the
DVR
footage, and we saw a bunch of headlights. Going this way, and then maybe turning around and doing a 3-point turn, maybe here. I don't know.
He went up that back side.
Heard a vehicle here, and maybe a truck or something later on. I really don't think the distance from.
Well, Brooklyn says the leaked video makes more sense to me now. Yeah, it's making a lot more sense, right?
And remember, those leaves that you see now weren't there.
Yeah, it was just sticks. So, just branches because there was nothing grown on them. So you had a better, clearer view through there. I mean, can you fucking imagine if this was like in the summer, all that foliage would have blocked everything.
Yeah, yeah.
From here, all the way over there on the other side, you could hear things with the house. I just don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Me neither.
You're talking about well over probably
steep hill here, so
150 yards.
Did
Kohberger?
Is this where he did that turn? That 4:06 a.m. turn.
It's a great
right
video.
Here.
4 more likes, parking. Let's get to 100.
Like maybe go up there, and you remember we heard that.
Yeah.
And then turn around.
Yeah, see, that's a cut right there where he's showing. That's where he went around to the back.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Just so you know, you are trespassing.
Thank you.
Yeah, this whole road's all.
Stop it there, Brian.
Okay. You on the?
Hang on.
No, but the manager.
Go ahead.
So he's not trespassing. First of all, it's not posted.
It's a private property. I mean,
but he's totally cool here. Me, I'd have been like, go pound sand. I can walk anywhere I want.
I would say I'm a journalist.
I want. He was like totally cool. I'm a little more confrontational, but yeah, he's not trespassing. He could have walked around that whole building and done whatever he wanted, unless it's cited criminal trespassing by the Moscow PD. He's good to go.
I'm gonna get you to. I gotta calm you down a little bit, man.
Sorry, man.
I'm usually the one that's fucking worked up, bro.
I just heard that. It kind of pissed me off.
That's what I mean. Be calm. Be one with nature. All right. I gifted a membership out like I said I would. Let's see who gets it. Come on, buddy. Oh, Freja is back in the membership group. You can go down there. Let's give her this. Hang on one second. All right. You can go down there, and if you go to my homepage, just click down below and go to the homepage, and you get all the members-only content. I do like a lot of members-only live streams, just like behind-the-scenes stuff, so don't miss out. I'm gonna rewind this. I want to hear the guy kick him out of there again.
Yeah, this whole road's all private.
Oh, it is. Okay,
yeah.
You on it?
No, but the manager's up there.
Oh, okay.
He just told me.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll walk.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yes, a new member.
Okay, so they're saying that this is private property, so you can't be on, which is cool.
Which you get your video anyway.
We
so
obey.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Look like it's a road that flows right in.
I wish he'd have walked up the back though.
I wish he would walk down.
Yeah.
I want to see down the street now.
Well, around the back is where I'm talking about, where that cut was through. Because that's where Brian went.
Yeah.
After his 3-point turn.
Allegedly,
yeah. Oh, it was in a BMW, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the white.
All right, so this king right here, he said this apartment complex is private. You don't want people walking around here. Media. He said, are you media? Yes, sir. So
there's no sign. It's not posted.
Yeah. Like
this is it here.
Oh, he is gonna walk more.
Well, I mean, it I don't know. It just blends in. You understand? But that is an apartment complex, I guess. It says tenant parking only. So, this is a public road. This is part of King.
Oh yes, walk down the road, dude.
And you see the
go.
Memorial.
Yep.
I'm surprised
Memorial.
that's there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought there would be more. What the Sam hell was
so
that?
That's going on here. So house is still up, scheduled to go down. Scheduled to go down on October. Don't know if it will. Won't know.
All right. So to the left, I want to make everybody aware. To the left, that gray house is where you're going to see that light bulb cam, and that is that new photo. There's camera footage there, folks. And let me pull this up because I had this yesterday. Shit, I just moved a whole bunch of documents over. Let me see if I can find this, but I want to make everybody aware that shit. Let me thumb through this photo real quick. There's going to be probably some camera footage that's released from that camera. And if I can find the photo really quick, if not, I can bring it up on my community page.
You're crackling again, Brian.
Is this better?
No, it's still crackling.
How's that? Is that better?
I don't know. Is anybody else hearing it, or his mic's crackling?
Put a 1 in the chat if my mic is breaking up. Let's see. I'll just do this. Let's do that. I'm going to go over here. It is breaking up. Fuck. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can fix this. Give me like 2 seconds.
Yeah, everybody is speculating on this private property, private road thing. It doesn't matter. The law says it has to be posted. If it's not posted, then he can walk anywhere he wants to walk. That guy can come out and yell at him all day long. But really, as far as the law, at least as far as I know in most states, it has to be posted. You need to go down to the PD and request that it be posted by order of Moscow police. This is posted, no trespassing. That's how the law works. If not, it's
how's my mic better?
Yes, it's better.
My mic is better now. All right, cool. Okay. What I wanted to do is hang on. Let me just pull this up. Let me go to LTL podcast. So I talked about this photo yesterday. And this is the footage. So if you look, that gray house is the house that JLR is going to walk by. And now we know that right there, and it's a little hard to see because I can't blow this picture up, but that's that light bulb camera. There's a photo that's floating around of this still from that camera. There's video footage of it. And if you look here, the date on it is 11/13/22 at about 1:56 a.m. So that person has this footage, and there's rumors that it's possibly going to get released as well. Let me go back to JLR. All right, let's see what he's got.
It's just a sad situation, right? We're praying for the victims' families.
I wonder if that camera's up there. Let's see if we can see it.
Quiet. Oh, quiet neighborhood.
Gone. It's got a light bulb in it now.
Yeah, they have
So
security
that's that
there
house.
24/7. Don't know the bill though.
To the
Don't know
left.
how much. Don't know how much the cost to that. Could be a lot. This is Queen Road. Queen Road.
Now this house has been blurred
Right
too.
here.
To the left. Shit. And that house straight ahead's been blurred now too. Hang on.
Kelly, it wasn't him, by the way, Kelly D. It was a reporter from the mainstream media. I forget who, but
I'm going to play this in slow motion because that house that he's going to face straight has been now blurred on Google as well too. Let's see.
Again, I find that odd because by doing that, you're basically pointing out, locations that will have witnesses. So if you are in the media, I'm going to look at all these houses that are blurred out, and I'm going to go knock on doors. I mean,
yeah, why not?
Yeah,
that's what probably tell you to get the fuck out of here. But
yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, it's all they can do is tell you to leave, or they're not interested.
I want to show everybody so they know. So here you see that house, JLR is in front of that house. Let me pull it up on Google Earth, and this is crazy because this leads me to believe that there's something about that house. And I'll pull up Google Earth. See, it's blurred. Now, why? Now, I get it. Maybe they requested it to be, that's possible. But it's weird. You can see here it's fine. But if I go to that tree position and I look, this is blurred. It's weird, huh? But if I go back to the video, let's see if we can see something. I don't know. Something over here. They're blurring out. There's got to be a camera there or something.
JLR got it for us. So.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I'm going to play this, see if we can see anything. That's slow-mo. Yeah, see, like they're blurring in through here. I don't know. Something's got to be there.
And
why would they blur that tree out?
And could be a camera on it.
Yep, blocking a camera. It's a pole camera. Could be. Blurring caused more attention.
I'll take you out to Taylor, which is up here. You got Moscow PD here. They've been out here all day.
You're welcome, Kelly.
Moscow PD out here all day.
Yep. Gel's saying the house is blurred out, probably where they collected footage. Absolutely. Or witnesses.
And
like
then there's the Sigma Chi. There's the Sigma Chi band field there.
That's where at night the police encountered
Taylor and King
Road. Stopped those 3 kids for the
right.
Yeah, out in that field.
Right.
Taylor and King. This is what the summertime looks like in a summertime perspective. It's very peaceful, as you see. Right there, that goes up there to Walenta. Around the hill, Sigma Chi.
This is great. Good stuff.
So Sigma Chi is when they walked right across the street.
Right across the street.
Yeah, it's nice.
And Ethan.
It's very, very nice. So, that's it here. I did a Linda Lane footage video earlier today.
We're gonna play that next.
Also, I did a video at the corner of.
We're gonna play that too.
Holman.
The traffic lights.
Ah, man, I forget the road's name. The place where Bryan Kohberger got the pullover stop.
Yep, I got that.
August 21st, 2022, 11:40 p.m. Seatbelt violation stop. Remember the seatbelt violation? The seatbelt violation.
All right, not much more here, but JLL, great stuff. Boots on the ground. Let's pull that Linda Lane surveillance video up and see what he's got to say. He's going to talk a lot about the camera positions here. So,
Lee Riches investigates. I am out front of the condo apartment complex, Linda Lane, Moscow, Idaho. Why am I here? Well, I am covering the Moscow, Idaho Bryan Kohberger case. And recently, we've seen some surveillance footage that has been put out. And some people are saying it's true, and some people are saying it's not true. But footage came out where it showed between the hours of 4 and 4:30 p.m., where it showed headlights and cars.
I want to thank a few of the members or chatters in the chat. They just donated some through my my PayPal, so I appreciate you for doing that. I appreciate that.
People are saying that was the timeline around when the murders happened at the Moscow, Idaho home, 1122 King Road home, and people are wondering, is that legit or not? And I'm here to look into the matter because I think I found where this surveillance footage could possibly be. But the question is, has it been altered, faked, or doctored at all? Is it real or is it legit? And that's what I'm here to look at. I'm going to give you guys a perspective on what this place is and that footage of where I think it is. Also, it's at a different direction that most of us thought. It's a different direction where it's facing actual north, not west, which will be very, very interesting. But I'm out here. I'm going to take you on a walk up to this location. We're going to see firsthand and take a look together. I kind of browsed through there earlier, and now I'm going to go with all of you and let me know what you think as we walk up Linda Lane, Moscow. This is one block to the east of where this tragedy occurred. This tragedy occurred right over there, King Road, November 13th, 2022, during the early morning hours. The footage is out. If you haven't seen the footage, at least check it out. And, I don't know if it's legit or not. I don't know the source or the origin. I don't know the authenticity of this footage, but it's out there. And now that it's out there, it's raising a lot of reasonable doubt on who possibly did this, because people are saying, well, there was other people around that house at the same time. There was other vehicles. Could there be accomplices? Could it not be Bryan Kohberger? And it shows a vehicle doing like some sort of turns, headlights, but it's hard to see. It's grainy. So we're going to go take a look together and go see what's up. All right. So I'm going to go up to the location here where I believe the surveillance footage came from, Linda Lane. And this is what I found interesting. So I honestly believe that security camera came right here. But here's something interesting, because I had the belief that this Sally Port thing was facing that way.
We lined it,
but it's actually facing this way. It's facing to the north. Here, I believe this could be the camera there. This could be the camera here, as you see it. Might have been this, because that one is looking to the left. That one is facing out this way. And it looks like the poles are the same. And it looks like the fencing is the same. Now, here's the thing. We saw cars. We saw cars come in, and we heard it like a car later on, or a truck parked here. But the Moscow home is around there. Did Kohberger do the 3-point turn here? Or was it over? And I don't see any other cameras. I don't see any other cameras here. I'm assuming it's by those poles. But here's the thing is, people thought that it was facing that way. And
was there a RAV4 parked there? I didn't notice. I was looking down.
That other side there.
There were 2 RAV4s in the footage. They obviously lived there. They're 2 identical RAV4s.
Right. And it's been a year.
I was looking down at my phone. I didn't look where he panned back where a RAV4's parked there.
It's been a year too, so people have probably moved and stuff like that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. The semester changed. There's different people in there.
I don't see any other cameras here. I'm assuming it's by those poles. But here's the thing is, people thought that it was facing that way. And, that other side there is the Moscow, Idaho home. The other side there, right? So I don't know. All confusing to me.
Oh, you got to walk up the back, dude.
What do you think?
I know.
Because I am out here in the field trying to get an understanding and perspective whether that surveillance camera is legit. Look, they even got a pair of boots.
That's what they do when they graduate.
What is going on here?
A lot of people throw their boots up.
Oh no, that's the signal. Come on, DJ. You know what?
Oh well, yeah. If you're in a bad area, it's a gang related thing.
Drugs and gangs.
It's not there.
I think the footage is legit.
Yeah, it's normal for college kids. It's a bunch of kids just fucking screwing around.
So let me know what you think. Is this Linda Lane footage legit or not?
Yes.
Facing right there. Did Kohberger do the 3-point turn there?
Yes.
What about that vehicle?
Yes.
What's
I'll answer
going
it
on
for
here?
you, JL.
JLR investigates. I am out in the field. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. I'll try to find out more information.
JLR, boots on the ground, dude. Good stuff, man.
Great work.
Yeah. I got the traffic stop where it was stopped, but I don't think that's really going to be really relevant to anything.
You know what's kind of unique about that stop is it just shows how argumentative he is toward women.
Well, this one wasn't. No, this is back in August, so we don't have any body cam footage of that, but it is mentioned in the PCA. It was one of the points where he was stopped in August. So it was the first stop within it was like 2 weeks after he had moved there, and he was stopped. And the one that we saw was in October. No, I'm sorry. It was late August. September. What was the one we saw in Pullman? September.
You're talking about the one where he did the rolling intersection? And
yeah, that was September, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was just crazy because it's like, oh, I'm sorry. It was in October. And then like a month later, it's like, we know what happened. But yeah, it was the August 21st stop. JRL went out to that location. That was the one. It was about 2 weeks after he supposedly moved there. What was the other video I had here? This is kind of crazy. This one outlines how many times he got stopped and picked up on camera. Let me look. See if I can find it. I might not be able to find it.
August 21st stop. Kelly says, yeah.
You want to take some calls?
That would be awesome. I was wondering where you were going to say that. People are going to be chomping at the bit. Is this the first time you've taken calls?
No, I've taken calls before. I just want to make sure this is going to work. That's the only thing. This just fucking hasn't worked, and we'll try to figure it out. Let me get these phone numbers, if I can, off the screen first. Fuck, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Damn it. Okay, cool. Let me just delete some phone numbers on the screen because I was testing it, and obviously I don't want to give out my real phone number.
Caroline Miller said Brian lived in Pullman in July and he was invited to a pool party in Moscow.
Yeah, that's all speculation.
Yeah, I mean, where did that come? Seems like I heard that, but
all right, let me see if we can get this to work.
A witness that said that, or
yeah, that's been just all right. Let's do this. 343-0833. Now, to the chat room, if you hear someone on the phone, don't try to keep calling in because you're just going to keep beeping the phone. So we'll give this a whirl. Let me try this and see if I can get this to work. We got the phone. We don't want to see the phone, but we want to hear the phone. So we should be able to hear it. We'll give this a rip. We'll see if it works. If you guys want to call the show, you can call in. We'll give you unbiased. You have 3 minutes on the floor. We'll give you 3 minutes to talk. You can talk Rex. You can talk Kohberger if you want.
So again, like Brian said,
we're not going to beat anybody up. We just want to hear what everybody has to say. You may agree with us. You may not agree with us.
As soon as he picks up the line, don't call in until you hang up, because it's just going to cut in and out. We won't hear the caller.
Right. And when you call in, just tell us where you're from. You don't have to say your name, but we just love to know where you're from. And if you want to give a fake name, that's fine too. Or if your chat name, you can do that. But we'll try to take some calls. Maybe we'll get a brave soul that will call in. If not, we'll probably wrap this up in a few minutes. I just want to see if this thing's going to work. It should work. It should work, man. Come on. We need one soul. Test our phone. Call the show 508-343-0833 if you want to talk. Let's hear what you have to say about the Bryan Kohberger.
Brooklyn, you can repeat it. Just say it a different way.
What happened?
Brooklyn said, I'd call in, but Detective John already said everything I was going to say.
That's all right. Just let us know how you feel. Let us know how you feel about the show. You can talk about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll take a call or two. Come on, there's got to be one brave soul out there. There's 124 people in the room.
Don't be shy.
I just want to make sure this thing works. See if we can hear everybody. Yeah, I need a test subject. I might have Detective John call in. Hey, this is Detective John. All right, we got a soul. Let's see. Let's Talk Live podcast. Who we got? Nope, they've hung up. Damn you. Call back. Let's see. Let's Talk Live podcast. You're on.
Hi.
Can we hear?
Hello?
Okay. Hello. Who do we got?
Hi.
You might want to turn down your background volume so we can hear you a little bit more clear.
There we go. How's
Awesome.
that?
Who we got?
Blanche.
What's going on? So we'll give you 3 minutes. What you got?
Oh, okay. Talking about the blurring.
Mm-hmm.
People, I saw somewhere else, I don't remember exactly where it was, that the blurring out of the houses is possibly because there was camera footage taken from those houses.
Yep.
And if you do a aerial kind of the back of the house, off kind of catty corner to it, there's a big house back there.
Mm-hmm.
That house is blurred out too.
Yep.
So the talk about that is that, can you imagine if they have the footage from back there, that's going to face the back of the house?
Yep.
Where the incident occurred.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We've been talking actually about that for quite a few shows. And actually last night's show, I pulled up Google Earth and showed that particular house. We think from what I've investigated and some of my mods and some people on the panel, we've gotten some photos, and I don't want to say where they've come from, but you can find photos out there of that backyard. We can't see the camera position, but we have an idea of where the camera position could be.
And that camera footage.
Yeah, it's going to be very telling if
that would be great.
We get to eventually see video from there and see if he did enter and exit through that door.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, and that was all I had to add.
Sure, DJ, if you want to respond, go ahead, man.
No, she just nailed it, because that if from that viewpoint of the back that house, where if what we think is
I don't know, I don't hear him.
He parked up there. Oh, you can't hear me, can you?
You can't hear him. Interesting.
Okay.
No, but I can see him on the TV. He must be talking because it's flashing. I just can't hear him.
Right.
That's interesting that you can't hear him, huh?
Just say I reiterate what
but
she
I hear
said.
you fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, he said he reiterates what I'm saying. So
no, what she said. Okay. I agree with what she said too.
Yeah, what she said, he's agreeing. So that sucks that I can't. Damn. Wonder why you can't. Oh, okay. I got it. I know why. Anyway, we appreciate you calling in.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. I just thought I'd give it a shot, and I didn't know that was already said. I got in kind of late today, so.
Awesome.
Anyways, I just kind of wanted to pass along
the show, Bryan,
a little bit what I had heard. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good night. What's that, DJ?
I was going to say, ask her what she thinks about how the show's.
Yeah. You know what it is? I think because I'm on mic, so they can only hear me. That sucks. I wish I could get it out to you too.
That's okay.
Yeah. Anybody wants to call in? We got 508-343-0833. Phone line is open. And if I have to, I'll hold the speaker up so you can hear you.
There's got to be a way, because
I can turn you up. There you go. We probably can hear you now. 408 in the house. Who's this?
This is Little Love.
Where are you calling from?
Kelly.
All right. So what you got?
Yeah, I had chatted earlier, and Detective John had said something about the DNA I had mentioned. And I was just talking about in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering if DNA is not in their, like they haven't committed a crime, and see if DNA is not, they haven't committed a crime and DNA is not found, can they find them?
Yes.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Can you hear me? She can't hear me.
Can you hear John?
I don't think it made sense. I can hear you on my earphones. I have you on my earphones.
So you can hear me or Bryan or both. You can hear both of us. Sorry, we're working through the glitches here. Can she hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, Detective John.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, they can find them, and that's what they did. So basically, they didn't have anything in CODIS. So they had viable DNA from the sheath. They ran it through the system, and BK's got no criminal history, so there's nothing in CODIS. So your question, I believe, is can they still find them even though it's not in CODIS? Yeah, absolutely, because all they needed was that tip that they got, and bam, he's driving an Elantra. So they could, there's various ways they could get his DNA. One would be through a search warrant, but they didn't, they didn't have to do that. They could have got it by doing garbology, which is what they did at the parents' house. And once you do that, you compare the two, and that's how I believe they actually figured this out. To just use the lame term of the family tree DNA, that's irrelevant in this case. Absolutely irrelevant. They need to get off of it. Not going to matter. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
I think she's the line is still open. I don't hear her though. Hello?
Lil Love, can you hear us?
Yes.
Did you hear what I said?
Can you hear me, Bryan? I'm here.
Yep.
I'm here.
Were you able to hear John?
I can hear John. I can hear Bryan too.
So did that answer your question?
All right. We're going to move on. Phone line's open. Thanks for calling in. Phone line's open, 508-343-0833. If anybody wants to call in, we'll take a couple more calls before we wrap the show up. Let's hear you. We can hear you on the Rex. Is it Heuermann or Heuermann? What are we saying?
Heuermann.
All right.
Tanga Blue says she can hear us both.
All right. 586. Who we got in the house?
Hi. My question is for John. I'm not sure in the technology how to work that.
Sure. Go ahead. What's your question?
Okay. I've been studying true crime pretty much since the inception of DNA, and there seems to be some confusion about like touch and transfer DNA. So I want to know, I understand it to be like if I run into you in person and, we bro hug and I pat you on the back, I leave touch DNA, right? And then you go and bro hug him.
That's transfer.
That's transfer, correct?
Right. Exactly.
Is that how the law looks at that, or is that different in legal terms?
Well, that's
so
how
I guess my question is
that's how science looks at it. That's how science looks at it, and the law will interpret it, whatever way they need to for the case. But the sheath is not transfer DNA; that's touch DNA, and they're going to try and say it was transfer DNA, though. That's what they're going to try.
But I mean, if I touch Bryan and then he touches you, that's transfer, correct?
Yep.
Right. That's transfer. You're absolutely right. Your interpretation is correct.
Now, the DNA I leave on Bryan is actual touch DNA, right?
Right. Because you are the contributor. You are the person that left the DNA. Now, if I walk by Bryan and I brush up against him with my shirt and I get your DNA off of his shirt, that's transfer DNA.
Yeah, I was asking specifically about this case because I seem to hear a lot of confusion on that.
Well, and that's what the defense wants to do. They want to confuse people. So they want people to believe that there's a possibility that Bryan Kohberger sold that knife, and in the process his DNA was left on that knife, or he might have held that knife and it was somebody else's knife, and that's what they want. That's the road. That's the rabbit hole they're going to run us down. They expect us not
that's
to have
what I'm
any
trying to
common
clarify
sense.
right now, is that touch DNA means that he didn't sell me that with his DNA on it, right? And then I went and killed these people or whatever, and that would be transfer DNA. Yes.
Well, if he held the sheath, then let's say if he sold you the knife and he held the sheath, you used the knife to commit the crime and you left the sheath there. That's still touch DNA. He touched it. Okay, but if you held the knife and you got his DNA off of the knife because you transferred it onto you, and then you touched something and transferred his DNA and took the knife sheath with you, that would be transfer DNA.
There's a great video that I would love you to watch, and I would love everybody to watch. If you want to go back and actually watch the segment, we did it last night on my show, but there was I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and I urge everybody to watch this segment. It was from the Law and Crime Network. We were going to play it again, but just for the interest of time, I'll come back to it, but I would urge everybody to watch that because they actually have a DNA expert on there, because I'm not a DNA expert. I'm not claiming that I am, but this will answer, I think, a lot of the questions that you have about touch and transfer. And she said that it's just almost virtually impossible the way that trust me.
Right.
Just
but here's and for the listeners, here's
let's
the
look at this the other way.
Sure.
What if Bryan showed me his knife and I touched the button snap and it was now my touch DNA on the button snap, and he doesn't leave any DNA on the thing? Am I on the hook for that crime that he committed?
Well,
it would be the totality of the evidence. Were you in the area? Were you in the area? Do you have cell phone pings? Is there video footage? That's all the other things in the litigating factor that you have to look at in this case. And right now, it is showing that there's a lot of that evidence that's out there, witness statements, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you're correcting exactly what I was thinking.
Sure.
And this is why it's called an investigation.
Touch and transfer. And I see a lot of confusion about that on the YouTube streets.
Yeah. Well,
I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
Can he hear me, Bryan, or no?
Yeah, I think he can.
And I might be using up my whole 3 minutes.
That's cool.
Love your show, brother.
This is great. This is great.
That's why it's called an investigation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to figure those things out.
But
I just wanted to get some clarity on that.
Absolutely. And do this though, sir. The link, I just dropped it again in the chat. Watch that segment on Law and Crime. I think that's going to answer a little bit further than what John and I can. I'm not an expert. John's not, an expert. I don't know, John. You're not a DNA expert, correct?
I'm not deemed an expert, but I've had.
No, I just follow true crime.
Yeah.
Have
so
for a long time.
I would say check out that link that I posted in there, and it's really good. It's a really good segment.
No, will do, sir. Thank you.
Great.
But that's the wormhole they want
you guys
to
have a good night.
Now. That's for sure.
That was a great call.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a couple of more. If anybody wants to call in, 508-343-0833. Phone line is open. We'll take a couple more calls and then we'll wrap this up because we're getting about the 2:30 mark. Phone line is open if anybody wants to call. All right, we have a call, John. From the 785. Where you from and who is this?
Excuse me, I'm from Kansas.
All right, man. How's it going?
That's not too bad. It's probably just stormy game out here like it always does, but we get through it.
Gotcha. So what's your question?
Been following this since it started. Kind of found your channel a while back. I like it. I guess my question is, how did he know or meet the girls? And what do you think your guys' answer is on that, or the connection? I mean, we kind of know why he probably did it or how, or understand it. But how did he meet them? How did he know them? Well, why did he choose them? I guess.
Sure. So my theory is this: if if you look at the case files, and I don't know if this is the thing that I really urge people to do as well too. And I'm going to drop the file here so you can go on and read a lot of the file information, but you can see where all the search warrants were pulled. I just dropped that link in there. You're going to click on the link and go down about quarter page and you'll see the Idaho case there. And I urge everybody to go and read through these documents. But my assumption is it's got to be through some type of social media activity. Now, I could be wrong on this, but if you look at a lot of the search warrants they're pulling, it's a lot of Facebook. It's I just saw actually some new ones again for Instagram. There's Tinder involved. There's some other social networking apps as well. So we don't know if, maybe he had been planning this, for a year out and was just scrolling through these apps to just find someone and just moved, 3,000 miles across the country to commit this particular crime? Or was this someone that he saw, one of these, 4 individuals that he saw and became obsessed with and started to track them down? That's kind of where it leads me in that direction. But again, that's really the $1 million question. $1 million questions for me are, how did they come in connection? What happened?
Yeah.
What happened in that house that night, and the 8-hour lag? Those are the things that I need to be cleared on.
Yeah, that 8-hour lag too is, and I think I heard you talk about it before. I think the other roommates knew something weird happened, and they just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
They just didn't. That's a house, man. You got to hear what the hell's going on, especially if people are getting killed. That's just.
Yeah.
And another thing too, I'll hang up here. Do you think he was ever there at like a party?
I know there's
How weird would that be?
Yeah, I've been some speculation out there. I've heard some of that, but we don't know. That's the thing, that total evidence is not out yet, and if it's even relevant to this case. John, do you have anything you want to add here before the caller goes?
Yeah, I think the digital footprint is going to answer a lot of these questions.
Yeah.
If you remember the food truck night, if you watch Kaylee, she was constantly texting or chatting, whatever she was doing, I don't know. But Maddie was earlier as well, and Maddie had actually indicated that Kaylee was going to be gone. This was it. She's moving away. So if he was infatuated with, and let's just say Kaylee, which I don't know, I mean, this could have been his opportunity, his last opportunity to do what he wanted to do. And she, this is why I tell my daughter, you don't need to advertise everything that you're doing 24/7, because you just never know. But you had some good points, good questions. I mean, those are all questions we want to know the answers to, but we're all going to speculate until we hear the evidence. And again, that digital footprint is going to answer a lot of that.
Absolutely. All right, we'll take one more call before we wrap up. If you're the lucky caller, you can call in now. 508-343-0833. Phone line is open. Phone line is open for anybody if they want to call in. And then if not, we're going to wrap this one up here. 508-343-0833. Good calls tonight, huh?
Chosen Rosen, you got to have some questions, bro.
I could just drop the link for him. He's been on the channel. He's my dude, man.
There's so much. She's got to have some good questions too.
All right, we got another call here. 425. From the 425, this is LTL Podcast. Who do we got? And what's your question?
Oh, this is 64. I just wanted to say hi, and I really appreciate your show.
Appreciate you. We appreciate you watching.
And I'll reach out to you later about the Jeff Primo case that's still going on in Washington. I haven't found out much about it yet, so no sense bringing it up if I can't find any more information than what you probably won't find. So
that's the I'm sorry, what was the case again?
Jeff Primo, he's the guy that got caught 24 years after murdering Jennifer Brinkman.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard that.
Is that a DNA case?
Yeah, he chopped her up with an axe, or he hit her one time with an axe.
Is that a DNA case?
Yeah, they found him through DNA 24 years later.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look into that one. Send me the details about it. I'll check it out.
All righty. And then you guys have a good day. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling in. Take another call. Want to take another call?
Yeah.
All right. 508-343-0833. We got another call here from the 385. This is the LTL podcast. Who we got? Oh, they hung up. All right, we'll try again. 508-343-0833. Phone line's open. Phone line is open. Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Watching the
time go away. We'll take one more before we wrap it up. 508-343-0833. 0833. I don't know, John. This might be it. Oh, we got another call. From the 385, this is the LTL podcast. Who we got?
Hi, it's Brooklyn from Vegas. I'm so sorry. I got nervous.
What's going on?
So I guess I have a question for, both you and Detective John. This should be my area of expertise.
Got it.
I work in criminal defense, but I've only been a paralegal for a year. So I guess keep that in mind. But I guess I'm just wondering with the extended time they're willing to give Bryan in the defense, I almost wonder if prosecution just doesn't really have all of their evidence back yet, since I know the FBI kind of likes to take their sweet time in processing things. I just almost wonder if maybe that's why Judge is giving them such laxity around the time frame of the trial.
Absolutely why.
Yeah, we know one. Right. Yeah, we know one thing, that the DNA evidence, I believe they're still waiting on some reports from the labs. And also, you gotta think though too, is the transcript of the grand jury that transcript has to be, down to the T. So that takes a long time to type that as well out too. So
that is very true.
Yeah. And I think Judge, he's trying to be very fair to both sides. And I appreciate that, because I want a fair trial. Absolutely.
And it reduces the chance of an appeal as well, which is honestly great. I love seeing that, but right. I don't know.
He's being proactive is what he's doing. He's this late in his career, he's not going to want to wind up with a capital felony case going in for appeal. I mean, he's probably going to retire soon, I would imagine. He's been around a long time, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
He's definitely, but yeah, I think you nailed it. You're absolutely right. He's biding time. The defense is wanting more time because they don't have all the evidence, and the state's catching hell for it. But it's not the state that's withholding evidence. You have a plethora of other entities involved here that all have roles. And you being and you're going to school for criminal defense, or you work for a defense attorney. I missed that. Are you working for a defense attorney?
Criminal defense attorney, paralegal. She hung up the phone, but
okay.
Yeah, she's probably still.
That was a great question, and yeah,
her phone died.
They're gonna get. I'm sorry. So they're gonna get. He's gonna grant a lot of He's gonna grant a lot of her requests, because they're pretty frivolous to not grant. You know what I mean? It's just right. It's like granting. Some people call it a huge victory when they wanted the. All of the background on the officers, their training, stuff like that. That's all elementary stuff. There's no sense in fighting that. Mm-hmm. Even though the state said they weren't going to use them as witnesses, still, okay, here you go.
Right.
TOT it over to the agency, get their info and send it to them.
Right.
But instead she uses it as a way to manipulate the public into believing that the state is withholding evidence.
Well, it's, and I always said this too, and you've heard us, excuse me, say this a million times on the channel, cases are they're chess, not checkers. So everybody's moving their pieces accordingly, and they're trying not to get into checkmate. So that's what's going on here. Let's try to take one more call and then we'll wrap this up. 508-343-0833. If anybody wants to call in, 508 343-0833 for the LTL podcast. We'll give you a couple minutes here. If not, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank DJ for hanging out on the panel again. He's been doing a lot of panels with me lately, and we've had some pretty compelling shows. And
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I want to appreciate everybody, every single one of these people in this chat room this evening that have come in and, discovered the show through these chats, coming in and hanging out and looking for, just really good factual content in these cases. Now, I am not an expert. I'm not I'm not a law enforcement, not formal law enforcement. I'm speaking for myself here. I just try to investigate and do the best that I can and, read through these documents and give as much factual information as I can. That's how I formulate my opinions here on my show. I read through those legal documents, I read through news articles, videos, and make an interpretation of that and give it back to the audience. So I don't know, John, if you have anything you want to say.
Yeah, of course, I've always got something to say. The thing about me, everyone, is I'm kind of a no nonsense guy. I crack myself up, don't get me wrong, and I have fun just like the rest of us. But I can tell you this much: to attack my brothers and sisters that I worked hard with in the same profession, and to know what they go through, how hard it is to put together a case, and to hear some of the nonsense that's spewed out there irks the hell out of me. And I'm going to jump all over them. I'm going to say things that you may not like. And I'm sorry in advance. I'm not going to apologize for being that way. But if I offend you, I'm sorry. If you're leaning toward, the fact that BK is innocent for whatever reason, hey, that's your right. But I'm leaning toward him being guilty. But to attack and fabricate stories to get clicks, I'm totally against it. I believe Bryan's against it, but I'm going to be a lot more versed than Bryan is about it, and I despise it. I absolutely can't stand it. It irks the piss out of me, and I'm gonna, in my own way, I'm gonna address it. So they're gonna provide me my content all the time, and I'm gonna enjoy it.
I mean, it's just look at a lot of platforms have run away from me. They don't want to collaborate with me anymore. I don't talk any ill will about channels. I just do my own thing, and we focus on what we have to do every show here, night in and night out. And I said this before, this is why I don't watch other channels. I may catch some of it, but I don't watch it because I don't want those channels and those ideas to influence my podcast. I want to keep it real. I want to keep my thoughts to myself. I want to keep my thoughts to my guests and my audience. So, that's how I do things here. But DJ, I think we're going to wrap this one up. We've gone about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I said I wanted to do a 2.5 hour banger, and we absolutely did that.
You got enough likes? You got over 100?
Yeah, we're at about 124, which is great. We got 145 in the room. I'd love to get to 145 before this closes up. But if not, I know you all will do it on the replay. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure you go down there and comment #replay. I really would enjoy it. And wow, dude, what a banger, huh? Great show.
And you know what? You and I, and a lot of creators don't do this. You and I have been responding to a lot of these comments. If I have time, I'll sit down. I'll respond. I'm a pretty quick typist. ASDF, JKLM, Simicon, the best class I ever took in high school was typing. So, I enjoy it. I'm not going to get into any useless banter with anyone, but if anyone has a question, fire it to me, and I'll try to answer it as best I can, and I'll try not to insult you. Try.
All right. I'll be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Going to get back into the Long Island serial killer. We're going to do a full show on that. So y'all come over tomorrow. I'll drop the link sometime throughout the day. And I noticed this time around, I think it alerted people a lot closer to the show, where I think when you drop it, the notification goes out, and then people probably tend to forget about it. So I'll drop that closer to showtime, but you can count on me being live tomorrow, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Detective John. Oh, that guy right there.
That way. There you go.
That guy right there is Detective John. I'm Bryan. This is the Let's Talk Live podcast, episode 37. In the bank. We appreciate everybody. I'll be back. DJ will be back. I don't know.
Click that like button on my upcoming show. The links, I think that's posted in here somewhere. Somebody sent it. So go in and subscribe, and we're gonna team up together, and we're gonna kick some ass, Bryan and I. So
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
All right. Again, I got it right. That's DJ. I'm Bryan. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Be safe.
Glad y'all got to see me.
Bye.